Got the chat pretty riled up. I said that you were running late, and they're all giving you shit. Come on, Chaz, get on your game, Chaz.
That's
what the fuck,
fault.
Chaz?
Yeah, that was
Chaz. Is that a dead body in your closet, Chaz? What's going on, Chaz? Anyway, that's Chaz live and in person. It's been a couple weeks. A lot of stuff has happened since I last spoke to you.
A lot of stuff has happened in the NFL over these past couple of weeks, and now we're going to talk about it.
And we are less than a month away from the NFL draft. We'll have a whole month of draft coverage for you. Let's lead it off with Puka, man. This shit's weird, bro. Just the report of, there's, the mid-season, end of the season, the anti-Semitic dance or whatever he did on that podcast, which was with a podcast with a known anti-Semite, which is probably not a good look. We joke about a lot of things in this show, but we're generally pretty upbeat, pretty positive. We don't discriminate. We make fun of everyone. We're also not NFL players. And then now you have the report of him biting a chick and then also throwing around the J word.
I just don't know. I just wish I knew what was going on in some of these guys' heads sometimes. Like, obviously we can joke around about a lot of different things. We joke around about everyone, we're not, it's never against one specific thing. But especially when you're that big of an NFL player, you got to kind of think about what's going on. And then the worst part is the biting thing is I saw a picture of the bite marks. I don't even know what the hell's going on with that. So,
dude, it's like if you know anything about Ted Bundy, one of the big pieces of evidence they had was the bite marks he left in the victims. And they took him into a dentist when he was in jail, and they got like a mold of his teeth. And that's one of the reasons he got convicted. And so apparently, Puka Nacua is a fucking biter.
I've never seen so many dead hookers in all my life.
Lord knows I have.
I can remember a time.
Hey, look. There's Mitch on TV.
Oh, yeah. There's Mitch.
And there's the Saigon whore that bit my nose off!
Chris Farley. In dirty work, a Saigon whore bit off Chris Farley's nose. In this case, he bit a Saigon whore. I'm guessing she's probably a Saigon whore. Not to victim shame, but...
Yeah, not to victim shame. But honestly, looking at what he's done the past couple seasons, if you are worried about him, then now's a great time to honestly get out on your investment, kind of cash in a little bit. Because, he's literally in that top tier of a wide receiver. The guy produces at an insane rate, but now we're starting to creep in with, what kind of concussions, haven't been diagnosed. Right. How is that affecting, what he thinks on and off the field? But if you do want to get out, I honestly I don't really recommend doing that. He's still 24, 25, and the guy's an absolute
24 years
field.
old, yeah.
But if you wanted to, you can, down tier to one of those guys in tier 2 and try and get a first on top. But then again,
the shitty thing for him is that JSN just got a bag of money, and he hasn't got his contract yet. He has made something like $4 or $5 million total in his career because he was a late round draft pick. And like production versus contract, probably the greatest in the history of the world.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember, a better, maybe Tom Brady, but he even took a year or two to come. Like he's been dominating since day one. And the one upside is there's no domestic stuff here because it wasn't his wife. And, the NFL takes domestic violence very seriously. And then also just the Trevor Bauer situation I always go back to. And the report they're owning up to the biting, which is hilarious. And he's like, yeah, there was some horseplay. His lawyer's like, yeah, there's some horseplay. And, he bit her. It's just crazy that he's a biter. But if you think about it like this, like they're owning up to the biting. And also the report is out that the female came to his camp first before going to the cops and saying like, we want millions of dollars. The funny thing is Puka doesn't have millions of dollars. But like I said, he's only made $4 million in his career. And it's more like they probably wanted it on layaway because they know he will have it. But Quinshon Judkins, same thing, right? He ended up playing last year, and that was much worse allegations. But the point is, Puka, don't throw the J word around because I don't think you know what you're talking about.
But we should be careful because I don't want to come off as anti-Semitic. This guy's Jewish.
No, what's that have to do with anything, dude? Yeah. Well, we don't have a problem with Jews. It's this guy in particular.
Whoa. Jewish, okay? He's Jewish. Don't use the word Jew. I don't appreciate that.
No, that's okay.
That is a racial slur, Charlie. And
calling somebody a Jew who is a Jew is not a racial slur.
Will you please not use the word Jew? It makes me uncomfortable.
No,
it's
it's
not
about the context that you use, and then if you use the right context,
Charlie,
you're good.
You're the most misinformed person that I've ever met.
We got mouth, Puka Riz, candles, soft music, a little socially acceptable racism, and eating out gone wrong. Where was the bite mark at, Chaz? Was it on their shoulder? I'm hoping. Where was the bite mark at?
I heard it was like shoulder. I don't know for sure though, if I'm being honest. I thought it was
because some
like
girls like
upper
to
body.
get bit. You know, I feel like girls are more into biting than getting bit. But it's just a funny fucking story because now the anti-Semitic remark, not that funny. Like, you know, Jewish people have been persecuted longer than any, you know, Holocaust. Like it goes back 5,000 years.
It goes back.
Hopefully I'm right with those numbers. But like that's not a good look, and that's now it's a second strike on the J word, or Jewish type stuff. And now you have a first strike on biting. So what's next, dude? Is he gonna get caught shitting on someone's chest? Like what's next from Puka? He seems like a weird dude, and he does play very, very hard. So who knows, man? I really hope nothing comes of it because the NFL is better with Puka. This would be a shame if this was a suspension. Now, if it's a 6-game suspension, let's talk more fantasy. I want to ask you this. If it's looming right now, and we can go on percentages of, how many games he gets, if he gets any punishment, but like early best ball drafts, would you fade him? Would you just take JSN over him now just for the safety, or would you say, fuck it, I'm just going to roll with Puka?
I honestly, I would just roll with JSN. That's what I would do. If you're even just a little bit worried, if you think Puka's your guy, nothing going to come of this, I'm fine taking Puka. But I mean, I don't really think there's a wrong answer between Puka or JSN. And then you just kind of got to look at, okay, what can happen next? JSN's not going to do some stupid stuff. He just got a bag. I would just rather have JSN.
You think you're saying JSN's not going to pull up Brandon Ayuk and just throw away fucking $40 million because he's a fucking moron?
Yeah, JSN, I don't think there's anything bad coming from that dude at all. So, and
no, he seems like
especially
a great
after
kid.
the year that he just had. Yeah. And how that should continue.
And there are reports coming out of college that, Puka was a humble, good kid. I mean, and out of Hawaii, like, Hawaiians are the nicest people, bro. They have they're so happy because they live in fucking Hawaii. It's a great situation there. And then he comes out, now he's just doing dumb things. And who knows? So, yeah, I'm not fading him too much. I might still take him over JSN just because I feel like when he's healthy, if he plays, if they both play X amount of games, he will outscore JSN by quite a bit.
I can see that.
Ooh, Dakota says Puka 50-50 on playing this year. See, I think worst case 6-game suspension because, saying something dumb is one thing, and they didn't suspend him at all for the thing on the podcast last year. I know maybe you say it's a second strike policy thing, but the biting, like, there's no precedent for biting. I don't know. Why are we talking about biting? Like, why are you biting somebody? Like a stranger? Like, who bites somebody? It's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't think it should be suspension at all, but then again, I don't know what Roger's thinking or what kind of, or just like what he wants to do with them. If he wants to set like something strict and be like, stop being an idiot.
You know what might turn the tables if someone has a video of it? Because if you remember the Ray Rice situation, he got like 1 or 2 games.
Yeah.
And like the report was he knocked his wife out in the elevator, and then they didn't say the dragging thing, but either way, the report is he knocked her out. I don't know what the NFL offices are picturing when a football player that's 225 pounds knocks out a 120-pound woman. I know what I think it looks like, and then we saw it, and it was a little worse than we thought. But the point is, like,
it was way worse.
When the report, it doesn't matter. First of all, Roger Goodell saw that video because it was on his desk. He's a lying sack of shit. Sorry, Roger.
He definitely saw it.
And then, but it went from 1 or 2 games, and then the video gets leaked, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And now he never played in the NFL again. So, like, obviously, the video, like, that's just the thing, the damning thing for these players. So, hopefully, there's no video of him biting. And, maybe he's a cannibal. I don't know. Maybe he wanted a little bit of that white meat. I'm guessing she was white. I could be wrong, but.
Seems like all the athletes want that nowadays.
Oh yeah, well Puka's he's Hawaiian, so he's essentially a white guy. Is white? Are Hawaiians considered white? Samoans? What is Samoans?
I would still consider them mixed.
Shout out! I got to make an announcement. Shout out to Mouse South. First episode dropped. I don't know if you guys saw in the Discord on YouTube. He is on YouTube. Unfortunately, there's 2 other Downtown Sports on YouTube. We just realized, so we have to figure out a way to make him stand out because his name. He's had Downtown Sports probably longer than those fucking channels. But shout out to Downtown Sports Boys. Give them a sub if you could. And they're just one show a week every single Tuesday, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it's where sports comes home. They have Iron Eagle on their program once or twice a year. So Hector says, yeah, JSN's looking better and better to draft over Puka in fantasy. Yeah, I'm still taking Puka. I play aggressive like that. Luck Boy says, you guys want to hear some trades I've made so far this offseason? Yeah, man, we're down. We're about to go into our little spiel about
I wouldn't mind hearing a couple of them.
Values, all that kind of stuff. So you want to get into it, Chaz? Let me get my paper out real quick. And yeah, we'll start with quarterbacks here.
Your hands are what makes it possible. Your shoulder pads are hard and stiff. Your hands are tender and they can move and caress the ball. that's kind of gay, but hey.
Let's rate his I lined it all up for you. Go up in comments. Mouth lined up something. Did I miss you, Mouth?
Ramondre 401 and for Worthy 304. That's
hold on one second. Let me find this Mouth comment.
Oh.
I didn't see it go up in the comments. I lined it all up for you. Oh yeah, well we got the super here. This is what he thinks went down. It's Puka Riz, candle, soft music, a little socially acceptable racism, and eating out gone wrong. When eating out goes wrong, usually it just goes wrong because the chick just smells like complete garbage or fish or both. I'd rather have fishy than garbage, but that's quite possible. So the first trade, Ramondre plus 401 for Worthy plus 304. I actually don't like this one, just because Worthy, if they draft a receiver, Worthy's useless, and moving up one round is nothing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Ramondre side better just because we saw, Ramondre go out last year, and then Travion had those really good performances, and they still fed Ramondre. And then you're looking at just a complete dynasty asset. You got to think about. I understand Rice has kind of had his things off the field and stuff like that, but Worthy, we've seen it with Worthy where he's just not that great of a fantasy asset. He gets like 4 to 5 designated plays a game, and then that's about it. Ramondre, they were still feeding that dude throughout the playoffs, to the end of the regular season, even after Travion already performed like a madman when Ramondre was out. So give me Ramondre's side.
Well, and the thing we've seen with the Chiefs, they're willing to give up in these receivers, Sky Moore and McCole Hardman. Now he's had a little more productive career than both those guys, but that was more out of necessity and volume. These other guys, like Sky Moore, never had a chance, and he was probably a worse pick. Hardman had a pretty nice run his rookie year of 7 touchdowns. That was when Mahomes was still in his deep ball prime, and it wasn't. Worthy has only been volume. The eye test says Worthy's as bad as both of them. Maybe not as bad as Sky Moore, but as bad as Mecole Hardman. I do like this one, though. 201 for Gatson. I like that one a lot.
Yep.
Because
I have
going top 6 in dynasty drafts, top 7.
He was going top 6.
Yeah.
So I look at those two guys as around the same. So you're pretty much up tier in half a round.
Oh, this one makes me come right here. I don't know if you've been watching the show at all, Luck. Mason Taylor is my favorite player to draft in Underdog and DraftKings best ball so far. Freiermuth plus Chris Rodriguez for Mason Taylor. Oh, I love that. I love Mason.
I like
Taylor.
it. Yeah.
I love Mason Taylor.
You were talking about him when the last time I was on here when we were doing a draft. You were like, "Oh, I need to grab Mason Taylor." I'm like, "Man, he keeps talking about Mason Taylor. I don't know what's going on with his love for him, but."
I think I'm up to 50% share on Mason Taylor on 18 drafts. So I have 9 or 10 shares of Mason Taylor. Luck Boy says 110 for 203 plus 206 plus 27 fourth. I don't know how to evaluate that one. I probably like it because you're adding picks at that point. I like it.
Yeah, if it's a 12 team, you're getting 203, 206. I don't in Dynasty, I don't really care about 4th round picks. But getting the 203, 206 is pretty good there.
Hatcher says, Rob, do you like Mason Taylor as a check down point merchant for fantasy or as something that he will be a sleepy good this year as an elite tight end 1. Oh, definitely not elite tight end 1, but what I love about him is he's going tight end 26 in redraft, and he's still going tight end 19 in Dynasty. So the arrow's pointing up for him. He also has the pedigree, and I know that's just kind of like a fallacy I have, is that his dad was Jason Taylor, but like I'd rather have his dad be Jason Taylor than not be Jason Taylor. You know what I'm saying? It's only good there. His film at LSU is elite. He didn't get the opportunity last year because he had Justin Fields and then Brady Cook throwing him the ball and Tyrod Taylor. Yeah. It's a messy situation. His film even wasn't even that good last year, but dude, he's an all around good player. He's not exceptional at anything. He's not Tucker Kraft breaking tackles. He's not George Kittle size and speed combination, but he's just kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, and he's trustworthy. He's fine in the run game. Like, he's going to be on the field a lot, which is one of the things that we want. We either want the second target in the offense, or in a good offense as a third target, or a guy that's on the field a lot. And I could see him being like how Cade Otton's been the last couple of years, but just a better player than Cade Otton, and in a less stacked offense.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the comments saying like that he could be a sleepy good year as an elite tight end 1, I think when people look and say, and we say at us, and we say that we have a guy like Mason Taylor is your guy this year, he doesn't have to be a tight end 1. It's just that we're looking at where those guys are valued at, and as you said, tight end 26. It's like you got to think about possibilities. Like if he finishes 24-12, that's already a win, and that I mean, when you're talking about it, kind of also is making me realize that. I mean, that's totally plausible, and it's really hard for him not to be higher than tight end 26. It's like us going back to that QJ when he was going wide receiver 70.
Yeah, right. And for me, it's best ball. It's easy smash. And redraft, he's kind of off the radar, but I could see him ending the year as a tight end 1, as in like tight end 10 to tight end 14, which is a giant win. If he finishes at tight end 16, that's a giant win. It's not going to matter so much in redraft with that gap, because like there's tight end 16 to tight end 25 is like the same player, right? But like it's still a win, and we just want to draft guys ahead of ADP. And in my mind, he doesn't have elite. No one going at tight end 26 is going to have elite top 3 tight end. Like, there's just no way. That's just way too big of a jump. He also plays for the Jets. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I'm just all about him. Luck Boy says it's tight end premium. Oh, and tight end premium, I love it because I think the touchdowns won't necessarily be there. The yards won't be there as much, but he could have, 65 receptions, I feel like, which is going to be top 7 in the league, top 6 in the league. Like almost like a Tyler Warren year from last year. Something like that. 74 receptions, 800 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yeah. All right. You ready to get to the list here? By the way, Chaz, it's my birthday in 2.5 hours. So I got this giant 9% IPA, a little birthday beer. And we're going to get to our list here. We're just going to talk about some ADP changes, guys that will be changing based on offseason stuff. Also some potential, draft stuff that might mess up or help a certain player, and specifically quarterbacks. So let's start off with quarterbacks, and we have Jaden Daniels. I want to talk about Jaden Daniels a little bit because they have done nothing in free agency, and I mean nothing in free agency. And if we go look, he is quarterback 4. And the rushing, it's because the rushing, right? Quarterback 4. What are your thoughts about what they've done? Because I'm going to pull up their offense for you guys here, and it is rough. Do we have Luke McCaffrey as their number 2 or Treylon Burks? Their running back room is absolute garbage with JCM, McNichols, Rashad White, Jerome Ford. Like, that is like $8 million total for those guys. None of them are very good. JCM might be good. Chika Okonkwo is their big offseason signing, who I like Chika Okonkwo, but if he is technically the number 2 pass catcher in this offense, or if you want to say it's Rashad White, like, that is not great. And what are your thoughts? I mean, he's the franchise sucks, dude. I can't believe that Jaden Daniels led this team to a conference championship game as a rookie. I don't care if it's his 8th year. Like, that's insane to do. So what is your pulse on Jaden Daniels? Their offensive line is fine, but it's not elite. I don't like Dan Quinn. Like, and it's this dynasty also for redraft, like quarterback 4. I like him, but it's just a little worrisome. They don't have a 2nd or a 4th round pick, Chaz. They have the 7th overall pick and they have a 3rd round pick, but no 2 and no 4. So they really can't like go both skill position players, right? They can't take 2 skill position players in their 2 of their first 2 picks, because that's getting into the 5th round. Then they need defense. They need O-line.
Yeah, it's very worrisome. Honestly, I wouldn't mind especially with where he's priced as a top 4 quarterback in Dynasty, I would not mind getting out on him while you can, if people still view him as like that. I mean, we saw it with last year and how the Bears said, okay, we have Caleb, like he is our guy. We're gonna go invest in him. We're gonna go get. I mean, they drafted Caleb, they drafted Rome in the same draft, and then next draft you go, okay, we're also gonna get Loveland and Burden, and then it's like, okay, like we're also, we have we're bringing in so many of these guys, offensive guys that can help them out. You just don't see that with Washington. You thought, okay, maybe the tide's turning there, maybe things are going around because they got Jane Daniels. It's time to new ownership. They can, do something better now. It seems like they're the same old Commanders. They're just, and when your biggest signing offensively in a year where you need to be, as pushing as hard as you can to get good offensive guys, is Puka Nacua is just not. It doesn't excite me at all. So.
No, and they've done the opposite of you're talking about the Bears and how they brought in a bunch of guys. Like, I know Brian Robinson Jr. isn't a great player, but last year they kind of showed you, like, they gave Jaden Daniels a middle finger because they were relying on a 7th-round rookie in JCM and then a dinosaur in Austin Eckler. And they're like, you know what? We don't want to pay Brian Robinson $3.4 million. They're pinching pennies on Jaden Daniels. And, like, you'd think this franchise would realize after what happened to RG3, like, let's invest in this team now while we have him on a rookie deal. Let's protect him with some O-line. Let's get him some weapons. Let's keep that bruising running back to run some to give him some stress relief on the goal line so he doesn't have to run it in from the 4-yard line.
Yeah.
And it's just a messy situation. So what do you quarterback 4 is his skill set and what we saw his rookie year, is that enough to keep him there ahead of guys like Caleb and Herbert and some of these other younger quarterbacks that are ascending? Like Drake May is right there with him. Who do you want, Drake May or Jaden Daniels?
Give me Drake May, easy.
What about redraft? What about redraft? Ooh, that's strong. Because redraft, I actually prefer Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, redraft, I'd go 50-50. I can easily see. I mean, usually I lean towards the running quarterbacks in redraft, just because of the volatility that they can give you, more so in the high end. They have a just insane ceiling. We've seen that with Jane Daniels. Dynasty, though, Jay Daniels is just moving down my rankings after this offseason, at least.
We got to see. They're going to take a skill player in the 1st or 3rd round. Could be Carnell Tate, could be Lemon. Maybe, what they should do is move down and take Jordan Tyson. If they can move down from 7 to, say, 15, you get Jordan Tyson. You get another 3rd-round pick, and now you have a little bit more ammunition to maybe take that running back in the 3rd round. Maybe get two players on defense to kind of help, keep the defense off the goddamn field. So,
yeah.
Ooh, Jay has watching Dynasty Diner on my 50-inch. You talking about your cock or your TV? That was a compliment, Jay. I don't think anyone wants a 50-inch cock. Hector says, Rob, I tried a Guinness Drought Stout beer. It tastes fucking awful. Don't get the appeal. No, Guinness is terrible. And Guinness is also only like 4.7%. It's like a little bit more alcohol than like a light beer. I hate stouts. Not a fan. IPAs are delicious because they have a lot of flavor and they're very strong. So you don't have to drink as many of them. But stouts, get out of here with your stouts. All right, next guy, Justin Herbert, quarterback 8. He showed out last year, particularly with his legs. That was the first year. Now, I know he broke his. Of course, Justin Herbert couldn't leave a year healthy, Chaz, because it's never happened. He breaks his left wrist area, I think it was. But you saw even with that he was running. But the first 9-10 games, he was on pace to, I think, lead the league in rushing at quarterback position, and that was without both tackles, with pretty bad interior line play. And the craziest and the worst stat I heard, and this is why Mike McDaniel's going to be great, is with all that I told you about losing Joe Alt and Slater, they played the most 3 wide receiver sets of any team in the NFL. They should have been playing 12 and 13 personnel. I know they didn't really have the personnel to do that. Just put some bigger bodies in the fucking field and get some guys to block for Justin Herbert. And all that being said, with a decent receiver room, it's not the best. Gadsden came on, that was nice. He still dominated last year. So quarterback 8 for Justin Herbert in Dynasty. They might take a guard in the 1st round, which I would love. Like, they could have the best offensive line in the league if they did that.
Juicy.
And Hampton's solid. You're fine with Quentin Johnson. I personally love Trey Harris, and Ladd McConkey's okay. I'm not a Ladd McConkey guy, but
he's
when I say he's bad for fantasy. He's fine for a slot receiver in the NFL. Gadsden's solid, and the running backs are good. So Justin Herbert, quarterback 8. this is pretty fair, but are you digging this with the changes they're making? And then obviously the Mike McDaniel hire, which might only be a 1 year hire, but it doesn't matter. We need one great year from this guy. Put it all together. I think this could be the year.
Yeah, I mean, you've had plenty of good years, but I think this year is going to be that one great year where he's going to help you go win a chip. Like, honestly, it's just all the stars are aligning. If the line's healthy, Hampton, he should be healthy. The wide receivers aren't bad. They're fine. They're manageable. And then with Mike McDaniel coming in, I think it's just setting up for success over there in LA.
Damn straight. Okay, next guy, Bo Nix, quarterback 13. So older prospect. I believe Bo Nix is 26 now.
Yep.
But the addition of Jalen Waddle is pretty nice.
That's big.
And that's what they needed. And now you can actually just make Mims a strict gadget player. You have Trey Franklin come in on, passing downs. Take some pressure off Cortland Sutton, your boy Cortland Sutton, Chaz. Finally take some pressure off him. We'll see if they address the tight end position. I saw some Eli Stowers rumors to the Broncos, which actually makes a lot of sense because the Evan Ingram experiment did not go well.
Did not go well. Did not go well.
He's probably gone.
Yep. I actually like Bo Nix as well. This is another team that is investing in a young quarterback. This is what the Commanders should be doing when you're investing in a quarterback on a rookie deal. You're saying, okay, because what they did is they traded. It was like the 28th pick, so it's like, okay, instead of making the 28th pick, we're just going to go and just go get Waddle. That's pretty much what they did, and that's great. They're investing in their young guy. They're investing in that offense with Sean Payton as well. He's been great. I think this is going to open up the doors for that offense.
Agreed, man. And, the 480 yards rushing last year and 6 rushing touchdowns, that's good stuff. If that's his floor, that no matter what will keep him in the quarterback one discussion, every single year. And I guess the only downside would be that defense is super elite and, having a great, where Justin Herbert has a good defense as well, but I don't really trust the Chargers defense. They're just good based on scheme and the fact that Harbaugh is never going to have a bad defense. This Denver's defense is legit loaded, and that's going to kind of neuter some of the elite performances game by game and season by season. But this is Dynasty we're talking, and they're not going to be able to afford all these guys for long. So when Bo Nix comes into his true prime in 2027, 2028, 2029, maybe this defense takes a little step back. They're going to once they pay Bo Nix, which they're going to have to pay him, you're going to have to let some defensive players go, right? If you pay Surtain, then you're going to have to let the rest of the ancillary pieces go. You have to rebuild the defense. So I'm in on this quarterback 13. Also in on Bo Nix, quarterback 15 currently, an underdog. That seems really cheap with Jalen Waddle being there. That's an ultimate. Let's think about it. Last year he was going quarterback 7, which was way too high. I was way off him, and he ended up finishing quarterback 10. But this is a discount. I don't understand Baker and Bo Nix going this late. I mean, because I feel like there's a tier. Quarterback 7, quarterback 8 to quarterback 15 is all the same guy. So just give me the guys that are going the last 3 of that tier opposed to the first 3. You're going to get 40 picks of value on those dudes.
Yeah. I mean, it's another, I don't know where Dak's going on underdog, but it always feels like those older kind of QBs that you're going to get good production with. They always seem to be late, and they always give the same production as the guy, as you said. He's going 40 picks ahead. So people just don't know how to figure that out, I guess. But I figured it out a while back. I know you figured that out probably many years ago. So
I think the best value in redraft in particular in a typical standard 12-man league is those guys going after 12, because 13 and 14 usually get picked pretty early because you always have that idiot that takes 2 guys in the top 12 or 2 guys in the top 14. But then there's that gap after the top 14 go, 15, 16, 17, where the last team that grabs a starting quarterback usually is round 9, round 10, round 11, that if you want to really wait and say, fuck it, I like Bo Nix as my guy this year, you can get Bo Nix in round 12 or round 13. And now you're just getting the top handcuffs. You're getting, the top rookie wide receivers that might not be in elite spots. You're getting that Kenyon Sadiq. You can draft some upside players and just have a stacked roster and still get essentially 10-on-1 production from Bo Nix, who's he doesn't have the highest upside in the world, but I mentioned almost 500 yards rushing and 6 rushing touchdowns. The next group of guys I want to talk about, I grouped them together because I want to kind of talk about all 3 of them. And I don't understand this order. So CJ Stroud, Cam Ward, and Kyler Murray. CJ Stroud is quarterback 17. Cam Ward is quarterback 20, and Kyler's quarterback 22. I would want Cam Ward and Kyler over CJ Stroud. I know CJ Stroud's the youngest.
The same thing.
Besides Cam Ward. He's the youngest, like, established guy. Kyler's 28, going to be 29. Cam Ward still has some question marks, but like is there any world that CJ Stroud ever gets back to an elite fantasy quarterback? Because he just doesn't have the skill set. He doesn't run enough. He's tied to an amazing defense, a conservative head coach, doesn't have anything really outside of Nico Collins. So like you saw even his rookie year, we were projecting his rookie year for the next year when he was going quarterback 5. In 2024, which was just insane. He was going that high, but it was because, his passing yards are so high and Tank Dell was balling, but he only had like 22 touchdowns that year. He missed a couple games, but it's like for a pocket passer to finish top 5 in fantasy, you need 35 plus passing touchdowns. You need Jared Goff, right? And Jared Goff still doesn't even crack that. You need 4,500 plus and 35 touchdowns. And I don't think there's anywhere else CJ Stroud touches either of those numbers. So how would you rank these guys? CJ Stroud, Cam Ward, Kyler Murray.
I mean, that was the 3 guys you picked were exactly 3 guys I was thinking about. I have it Kyler, Cam, CJ. I mean, it's just amazing me how CJ's still that high, because they literally their front office and their coaches told you, hey, in this Monty trade, we're going to run the ball more. Like that's what they're telling you. And people are still high in CJ Stroud, so I just don't get it. And then thinking about Kyler, I think this quarterback 23, if he has a good year here with Kevin O'Connell and they sign him long term, his value is going to shoot up. I mean, he might not be the greatest in real life quarterback, but if he is on a productive offense, he's going to produce normally back end QB1 production with his legs and with the amount of touchdowns that he'll get. Because of that as well. And then obviously when you have a guy like Justin Jefferson there and Kevin O'Connell and stuff like that, I think now's the time to buy in on him. Yeah,
and like Kyler, recency bias, and that's getting held against Kyler. But like CJ Stroud, recency bias, 2024, awful. 2025, got a little hurt, awful as well. And the last time we saw him in the field in the playoffs, real life awful, like actually awful, like turned the ball over, looking like Sam Darnold in New York was really what it was. And we've seen one good year of CJ Stroud. Granted, it was his rookie year, but we've seen 4 pretty elite fantasy seasons from Kyler. And the last 2 seasons, it was mostly, he's never really came back strong after that ACL, but the situation's not been good. But even then, he was still that, top 12 option, where CJ Stroud was quarterback 25. Like, I don't care if Kyler plays every game like CJ Stroud. What is his floor? Quarterback 14? I mean, that's what we've seen.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, CJ Stroud has just showed us nothing in terms of fantasy, nothing. And then now we have real life questions of, is he going to get that contract? He most likely will, but is he a franchise quarterback? And I still have hope for CJ Stroud, more so real life NFL than fantasy. I think he's a value in redraft, but like in terms of hitching my wagon to a guy that is tied to an elite defense, I'm not on it. And then Cam Ward, right in the middle of those 2 guys, I think has the best of both worlds, because they're going to build. I mean, the situation he had last year, it was essentially the same situation that Will Levis had, that Malik Willis had. And now look what happened with Malik Willis when he went to Green Bay. And I'll tell you, Cam Ward played much better last year than Malik Willis played as a rookie, much better than Will Levis played as a rookie. And Callahan is such a bad coach. And I'm not saying it's that much better now, but Brian Daboll, you saw what he did with Jackson Dart. So the upside of Cam Ward is Brian Daboll loves his quarterbacks to run. Josh Allen, you've seen it with Josh Allen. He encourages this. He calls the number like 1st and goal from the 5. We're not going to pound it 2 times with the running back. We're going to do a quarterback draw in a game in November stuff.
Yep.
And like that, and Cam Ward last year had so many opportunities to run. I know this because I specifically bet on Cam Ward's rushing totals. They were at like 4.5 yards. I'm like, dude's pretty mobile. He's running for his life out there, but he was always just running for his life to throw it in triple coverage. So I think Daboll's going to be like, hey man, let's simplify the game. You're going to run for first downs. You're going to extend drives. And also what you're going to do is then you're going to open up the pass, because the defense is going to be honest now. And now instead of throwing into triple coverage, when you don't decide to run, you're going to have one-on-one. The linebacker is going to pinch down. The corner is going to have his head on you. And love Cam Ward for best ball. I love Cam Ward for redraft. And I think quarterback 20, I'm in on Cam Ward, if you can't tell. Are you as in on Cam Ward as I am?
I'm pretty in mostly. I mean, I already know we were talking about Dable, the QB whisperer, but like pretty much every QB he's worked with has been pretty good. Like fantasy wise, production wise, and has been able to do a lot with them. So I'm very excited for Cam Ward. I mean, we already saw them sign Wando Robinson, who's going to be their, or at least this year he'll be their wide receiver one. He should definitely back off. He's that quick option that'll have.
Calvin Ridley's back. I mean, I know Calvin Ridley's
Yeah.
a joke, but like he's still better than most threes. I say he's better than some twos and most threes in the NFL. Established. I like Io Manor. Gunnar Helm. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about Gunnar Helm. They could draft Jeremiah Love. That could be a possibility, which
That's a possibility.
is going to open things up for him. So I love the prospects of Cam Ward. I don't think he should be on our redraft radar this year. He might be a streamer. I love him for best ball though, because you're taking him at quarterback 24. That's solid as hell. But I love the arm talent. I love the aggressiveness, man. That dude doesn't give a fuck. He just chucks the ball downfield, and he's got some Jameis Winston to his game, which, as we saw for Jameis Winston, especially in most leagues, and if you play in a -3 for an interception league, little weary about that, but most leagues are -2 or -1. Like, I don't care. I want to go downfield, and a lot of times those picks. This is the Jameis experience. Was he threw a lot of pick six and just like gave away a lot of points. Then he was just back on the field trailing by 14, which is what fantasy dreams are made of. So that could be a Cam Ward season, right? The defense is not going to get fixed that much with Robert Saleh. I don't care. You're not going to go from one of the worst defenses in the NFL to all of a sudden top 10. It might be, 15th, but not going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, you point it all out there. I mean, I also want to just talk about the confidence that he has within himself, and it feels like he hasn't lost it either. Obviously, with being on the Titans, it's hard to be as confident as can be. But I mean, we saw him be extremely confident himself in college, and it translated to the NFL. And now we're going to hopefully be looking at that for the future. So, a Dynasty.
All right, I'm going to hit you guys with the intro.
Great investment.
I'm going to hit you guys with the intro, grab a beer, and then we're going to get back with some running backs to talk about. All right, buddy, let's move on to running backs. First name I have here, Breece Hall, running back 9. This is a weird one just because the Jets, and how long is he going to be there? This year is going to be rough. I mean, because he's going later than that in redraft. He's going like running back 14 in redraft. Still pretty young. Let me take a gander exactly how old. Is he 25?
He's 24.
Is that your
24.
guess?
24 right now.
Is he really only 24?
Yeah, he's still extremely young.
Breece Hall is no shit. 24. Breece Young. He's Breece Young. He's not Breece Hall. He's Breece Young. He's still young. 24 for Breece Hall. Can you believe Travion Henderson is going 10 in Dynasty? What the fuck are we doing?
Cannot believe. I see that every time, and I just get cringe.
People want Travion Henderson over Kenneth Walker. Okay. All right.
I don't even want Breece Hall over Kenneth Walker.
No, and that's kind of the point I have Breece Hall on here. I still believe in the player. Now, if they're smart, they should just run him into the ground this year. Because if they're not planning on re-signing him, the upside is that he's going to get, all the work. And we've seen Breece Hall lead all NFL running backs in receptions in a season. So he has that in the range of outcomes. And I feel like Geno Smith is a check down merchant. I mean, he likes to throw the ball downfield, but he isn't very mobile. He's not going to steal those checkdowns with rushes. So is this crazy running back 9? Are you selling this number? Where do you think it's going to settle after the offseason? Because they're not going to, after the draft, they're not going to draft a running back because they have Braylon Allen there still.
If you are an owner, this is either a hold or a sell. I just feel like where he's priced at right now, they're pricing him like he's already gone and he's going to be at some place that's going to give him viable touches. Like they're already projecting for the future. And sometimes, I mean, as we've seen when running backs go to whatever team they go to, sometimes it's not the best. Obviously, we saw it be the best with a guy like Josh Jacobs going from the Raiders to the Packers. Then he was, RB1 however many years in a row. It just feels like the future's already baked into him going to a decent spot, which is why I wouldn't mind selling him. Now as a Breece Hall owner, I'm holding just because I don't want to sell him, and because the other running backs I got are pretty old with JT and CMC. So in case one of those guys go down, then I still have Breece Hall. But I would say either hold or sell if you can.
So the next guy, Kenneth Walker, running back 11, the tiny dancer, which is where Breece Hall was supposed to go last year, but they didn't want to trade a 3rd-round pick. They wanted a 4th-round pick. Maybe it worked out for them, maybe not. I think Kenneth Walker. Who do you think is a better player, Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker?
Oh, I think Breece Hall is. But you got to look at situation. You got to look at all that, in my opinion.
Yeah. So running back 11 tied to the Chiefs, though. So they have exact opposite situations. And also the money. Follow the money. Like, they're going to want to get their money's worth. I think one of the worries is you saw Kenneth Walker, even in the playoffs, losing snaps to George Halane in passing situations. You've seen the propensity for Andy Reid to play your Jerick McKinnon types. Now, maybe that's Brashard Smith this year, who didn't make an appearance last year very often, but they like Brashard Smith there, and he's a pretty elite receiving down back, and that could kind of hamper some of his upside if he's only going to play that early down role, but it's with the Chiefs. So if the offense gets back to where we think it might get, it's going to smash this number, and maybe if he can stop Tiny dancing. So are you in on this number, running back 11?
Oh, I'm all the way in on that. I think he's going to be at least an RB. This is pricing him as at least in the back end RB1. I think at the very least he's an RB1, potentially higher. This Chiefs offense, especially with Mahomes coming off the ACL tear, you're going to see him running the ball more. Mahomes is going to be doing his thing, throwing the ball, but not running as much. He should get a bunch of touches and then a bunch of valuable touches now that he's on the Chiefs.
What about redraft? He's going right around the same number. I think he should settle at like running back 8 by the end. Yeah, I think so too, man. I think early season workload is going to be huge early season, and Mahomes is going to run less for sure, and that's more checkdowns because he's coming out. The last year he was running out of necessity, but he was running at a crazy clip that even he never did when he was young. So this is Kenneth Walker to the fucking moon. Let's move on here. We have a Heter saying Brandon Ayuk needs some of Butter's creamy goo. You know what Butter's creamy goo is, Chaz?
I do not know what that is.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, Dad. You need some of this.
This is cum.
It's just cum. Butter's creamy goo is just cum. If you're wondering. Okay, this one, Bucky Irving. Did you look this up? Do you know where Bucky Irving's at in Dynasty right now? Running back what?
I saw RB13 on the list you sent over.
RB13 for Bucky Irving. What are we doing here, man? Like it's fucked. It's fucked. Would you like him at RB19? Can I sell you on RB? What number are you comfortable? Is it RB19?
I would say a little bit higher than that. I didn't know which direction you were going with that, but I was like, I'm just hoping he's praying down. I'm not a huge Bucky guy, and I didn't know where you kind of stood on that. I know a couple guys in my leagues have been trading. Bucky's been going around everywhere, but he's been going for a pretty penny. So
it's because of his rookie year, and everyone's enamored by that. And everyone forgets that Bucky Irving was a 4th-round NFL draft pick. And we see this all the time by these guys that just kind of fade away. And whether it's injury, whether it's depth chart, whether it's, this could be a Liam Cohen situation, who is elite at scheming up running back. Look at Travis Etienne last year, just dominating. And it just wasn't there last year. The tape wasn't great. The numbers weren't great. You saw Sean Tucker taking every goal line carry, and Sean Tucker's not officially back. They tendered him. So I'm guessing that Sean Tucker's back. If you get Sean Tucker, now you have Kenny Gainwell, who's coming off a top, I don't know, 5, top 3 receiving back year in the NFL, maybe even number 1, dude. It was amazing. And he's better than Rachaad White at receiving. You know, he's not quite as big, but he's a better receiving back than Rachaad White. So it's like Bucky Irving looks like an in-between-the-20s grinder. And the problem with Bucky Irving is he's not Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, if you give him that role, he's going to pop off 3, 4, 5 possible long touchdowns. Bucky Irving does not have that in his game. He is not a straight line speed guy. So you're going to get a lot of 16 for 75s with 2 catches. And if he's how is, like, I'm trying to think, how is Bucky Irving going to score touchdowns, Chaz? Like, how?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It needs to be. It would be extravagant watching him score a touchdown. It has
got to
be
score
like
from the 21-yard line because he's not playing in the red zone, right? So he's got to score from the 21 or the 25 because he could maybe score from the 30. I don't think he can score from the 40 unless it's reception.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. It's another situation of the CJ Stroud of running backs. I mean, they like his young age. They like what he put up in his rookie year. They like the offense, but they're not actually looking at the offense, and that's just where it kind of goes downhill for Bucky, I think.
All right, next guy, Travis Etienne, running back 18. Let me just start you with this. You want Etienne over Bucky? Definitely this year we want Etienne over Bucky. Even though they're getting drafted back to back, but in Dynasty, Etienne's a couple years older, I believe.
I didn't know he's 27.
Not the biggest
I thought he was still younger.
Well, let's not forget he lost. He pretty much got redshirted because he tore his Achilles. It was Achilles or ACL in preseason or training camp of his rookie year. I want Etienne in both. I want him definitely more in redraft, but I think in Dynasty because of the contract and the commitment that the Saints made to him. Like, Etienne is going to be on the field. Like, I'm not always a follow the money guy, but when it's this much, $13 million a year, it's like they're not gonna bring any competition in the draft, right? And they're gonna have Devin Neal and Audric Estime backing him up, which is fine. Like, those guys are okay, but no threat to his workload. And that's an up and coming offense where honestly, I think the Bucs are kind of a descending offense. As much as I love Baker, like Ibuka's not a number 1. Chris Godwin's old. They signed Kate Otten. Like, dude, they don't have Jalen McMillan. I like, but it's not really the offense that, you know, we had from 2 years ago. And even last year, I think it's going to be worse. So scoring opportunities are lower and we don't know, like, signing Gainwell, like, what's the future of Bucky? It's uncertain. We know we have an ETN. So I feel like this should be flip-flopped. I feel like ETN should be 13 and Bucky should be 18.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I love that Kellen Moore offense they got going on over there in New Orleans. And I mean, you know, Shuck's also going to be coming into his second year. I could see that offense taking a little leap, and then especially who's going to benefit from that, all the offensive players, and then especially their new running back that they just paid $13 million a year for. So I would say I would much rather have him over Bucky.
All right, guys, we're going to get to comments after every position. We'll go through a couple comments. If you want something answered right away, if you don't have a lot of time, or you want to be generous and super chat me, I will get to it right away and stop what we're doing and get back to it after. Next name, Blake Corum, running back 31. Kyren Williams, I believe, is running back 17. So how do you like that split? I know, like, Kyren in the playoffs, he definitely got more work, but in the end of the regular season, and this is, you know, fantasy is a regular season game. We're not talking about real life playoffs here. It was essentially a 55-45 split with Blake Corum, and it was exactly a 50-50 split around the goal line. So they love Kyren Williams, and they paid Kyren Williams, but he what is it, $11 million a year? He makes $10 million a year. It's not ETN or Kenneth Walker money. And they drafted Blake Corum with a second-round pick in the NFL draft. So I think Blake Corum's a better runner. I think that Kyren might be a better player at this stage of their career. Blake Corum has some stuff to clean up a little bit, but he is definitely the more athletic. He's got better bursts. He's bigger. He's more powerful. He just lacks in pass protection a little bit. He's not a bad pass protector. Kyren's elite, and he's just not quite the receiver that Kyren is. But in terms of pure running, he's a way better runner. You see the difference when he's in the field because they kind of look similar. They're both really short, and Corum's just bigger and faster. And like, it's not like a Bayshell Tootin situation where he has no instincts. Like Blake Corum, watch him in college. Dude's got a nose for the end zone.
Yeah.
He's elite vision. So I love Blake Corum at RB31. This is just a slam dunk for me because we don't know what the future of Kyren is. Eventually, they're either going to move on from Blake Corum. Some might pull him as a starter, or he's going to be his job.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost that like kind of Tyler Algier where you're getting a great handcuff, but with this, it feels like Kyron has more of a chance of getting injured than a guy like Bijan. I mean, that's kind of how I put it. Like if Kyron gets hurt, you're going to see Corum go into an insane role that everyone in your league is going to be wishing that they had him.
Yeah, where do we rank Blake Corum? I know I always do this. I've been doing this with Tyler Algier for 3 years, and Bijan just never got hurt, so we haven't had the opportunity to see it.
Bijan's a different build, though. Totally different.
But we saw it. My comparison is we saw it with who the hell was it with the Vikings for that couple games that Aaron Jones got hurt. What before?
Who
the fuck was it? You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly.
Oh, Alexander Madison. Alexander Madison.
Yes.
Remember the Madison games? It was like 24 carries and 4 catches for 120 yards and touchdown every time. And that's what we're hoping for from a guy like Blake Corum. So where would you rank him if there was a 6 to 8 week injury for Kyron Williams? For those 8 weeks, Blake Corum, is he top 5? I think top 5 might be a little aggressive, but you see this when you have a backup you trust that they're already giving work to. Like it actually ends up being a bigger workload than even a guy like it's Jonathan Taylor level workload, right? It might even be more than Jonathan Taylor because they're like, this guy's fresh. We don't want to give the third string running back a lot of touches because we don't trust him, right? We don't want to get our Matt Stafford, our older quarterback, hurt. And it's Blake Corum, 82% snap share. Blake Corum, salting the game away. Blake Corum, 27 carries. So is it crazy to say top 5 for those weeks? Because that's what we're looking at, especially for redraft.
I don't think it's crazy to say that at all. I mean, when you look at that offense and how productive it is, and you're thinking that he's getting every single touch in that offense, I would not say you're crazy for thinking that he would be a top 5 running back over that span.
Agreed. Wally says, couldn't have said it any better, Rob, about the Bucky and ETN versus Bucky. Appreciate it. I'm pretty humble.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That is a great idea.
Those are the only kind I have.
I can hear my hair growing. You want some soup?
I really host a great show around here. The clips are on points. You gotta realize I'm thinking about so many things while I can, present these things and host a show. Oh, I gotta play this clip. I see this comment. Boom, boom, boom. I never stutter. I never miss. I'm fucking drunk. Let's go. Let's get it. That's why you guys tune in because I'm goated. I'm goated. And Chaz is goated. Chaz, a lesser extent goated.
Lesser extent.
You're aspiring to be a Mike Storey level analyst, I think.
Hopefully one day. I know I'm not as good as some of you guys are, but
you're also 23 years old,
Chaz.
There. So yeah, well, you're a young buck. Right 21, 20. How old are you?
I got a couple months.
Are you even legal?
Right yeah.
Okay, you're legal.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, you should come over sometime.
Oh.
Look at this. This is Laurence Olivier and Othello. Mm-hmm. And this is James Earl Jones. Now look at how close they look.
Look at that! James Earl Jones doing a great blackface.
James Earl Jones has a blackface. He's a black man.
He's not black. James
of course
Earl
he's black.
He was Darth Vader.
Darth Vader was black?
No,
see, okay, there we go.
Darth Vader was not black. They took the mask off. He was white.
Hatcher said, Uncle Rob, don't touch him. That's funny. John that says Corum would have, what sucks is I have a nephew, and if my sister listened to this show, she'd be like, you're not watching Daxton. I've watched him plenty of times. There's been 0 incidents, okay? Corum would have a Dowdle type workload. No, the Dowdle workload was exactly the Alexander Madison workload, right? It was unreal. And that Dowdle run, Jesus, dude. Back-to-back 2 hundies, man.
Dude,
that game against I just love that game against the Cowboys where he called his shot. That's when you got a big set of nuts on you where you're just like, and we all know the Cowboys should have as good as Javonte Williams played last year. Rico Dowdle's a better player, and he could have been had for the same price, and he already knew the system, and it was a mistake. Yep. And they didn't use him the first half of the year. And once they started using him, look what happened: 80 yards a game. And then when he got his chance last year, that was some awesome stuff. And I love me some Rico Dowdle little worried about him this year. And I know Mouth in particular has been talking up Caleb Johnson. And now without a new coaching staff, like if Caleb Johnson works into this backfield, Rico Dowdle's fucked in terms of fantasy where you're drafting him.
Yeah, it'll be tough though. It's like a 3-headed monster there again. I mean, I just don't really like having any kind of Pittsburgh type of player on my team the past couple of years.
Exactly, Hetzer. I'm watching Blake Corum's film right now, and holy fuck, his acceleration is nice. And yeah, watching it, watching naked Blake Corum film is not watching the whole game where you see Kyron right before him. It's nice. But when you see it with Kyron on the field in the next play, you sometimes don't realize which one it is because they switch him out so often. It's like, damn, Kyron's fast. It's like, oh, actually, that's Blake Corum. And then you see Kyron in the game, and it's like, man, he's so small and so slow. That's why I've never been a Kyron Williams fan. And the numbers would say I'm a moron for being a Kyron hater. Because the fantasy success is just undeniable. The touchdowns, it's been super consistent. But the yards per carry has not been great. The metrics aren't great. And the eye test is bad. I'm telling you, Kyron Williams is just a guy. And the money isn't that elite where it's like, if Blake Corum's a better back, Sean McVay, this is a win now, Super Bowl ready team. They're going to go with the better guy. And you saw it even last year. And they said it was and it actually came to fruition a little bit. They said it was to keep Kyron fresh for the playoffs. But who's to say this year they're not going to do the same exact thing, even if he's not the better player, even if they don't give him more touches based on him being better. They want to keep Kyron. They want to keep them both fresh. And there's not a big difference between them, right? Outside of like a really important game or a 3rd and 7, like what's the difference? They're going to just both be eating into each other. And at that point, give me the guy that's way cheaper in Dynasty and especially redraft, because Blake Corum is still, I think, a 9th round pick. I absolutely love that. It's the playable guy that can go into a nuclear. It's almost like a David Montgomery situation, right? He's not going to have David Montgomery's numbers, but we saw David Montgomery without Jahmyr Gibbs, and it was a top 5 running back. And
it's very good.
But David Montgomery was a 6th or 7th round pick for those years because he was scoring 10 plus touchdowns. And the Rams don't run the ball like the Lions do. But if you go back 2 and 3 years ago, why Kyron was doing having such success, those were the years that Matt Stafford was throwing for 4,000 yards, having 21 passing touchdowns. Last year was the aberration. Last year was Sean McVay doing what he always does and being a step ahead of the competition and being like, yeah, you think we run the ball all the time inside the 5? Now we have Devontae Adams. Nope. Now we're throwing the ball exclusively inside the 5. So I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle of what we saw 2 and 3 years ago and what we saw last year, right? It's not going to be – it was essentially 50-50, which we're talking about on the 3-yard line, having a 50-50 pass-run ratio. It's not going to be like that.
I mean, hey, as a Matt Stafford owner in a 6-point passing touchdown league, and I traded for him mid-season last year, I don't know why the guy let me get him for what I got him for. But to watch him throw it on literally inside the 5, inside the 3, almost half the time was just amazing. Could not have asked for anything better.
All right, last name here, Tyler Algier. If you've been living under a rock or you have Down syndrome, he's on the I can't even talk now because I had that good joke. Arizona Cardinals. Tyler Algier, crowded backfield. Now Trey Benson may be done. He might be done, but they restructured James Conner. And here's the problem. There's some rumors about Jeremiah Love. There is some Jeremiah Love rumors. So what do you think? Real quick, before we get to that, I missed David's comment. Sorry about that, David, if you're still in here. What team do you think Jeremiah Love will land on? So let's hit this first before we get to Tyler Algier, because it's going to tie into the Tyler Algier upside and floor.
I think it's one of the two of Commies or Tennessee, right? I think that was one of the two. I think it's between those two. I think the Commies will go Love if he's there, just so that it takes some pressure off of JD and then also boost the offense as well. It's a simple dump down option. It's a fail safe option. So I think I'd say 65% Commanders. That's where I'm waiting. If he's there though.
Yeah. They need a receiver so bad too, right? And I guess here's the thing that it makes sense for Jeremiah Love, because this running back class is dog shit. It is so bad. It is outside of Jeremiah Love. There's not top heavy. There's no depth. So like if you're going to wait to the 3rd round, their next pick's in the 3rd round, the type of running back you're going to get is not going to be better than JCM or Rashad White, where the wide receiver class, it's not exactly top heavy. I'm not into Tate. I'm not really into Lemon. I like Jordan Tyson, but there's injury concerns, but it's really deep. Like wide receiver 5 through wide receiver 15 is like all the same guy. So like you can get a difference maker, a day one starter theoretically in the 3rd round. So like that's why that does make sense. But then you're talking about going running back, wide receiver, and you're going to have a shitty defense again. And I love this for Jaden Daniels like prospects, right? But like you really can't afford to do that because they don't have a 4th round pick, and now they're going to bolster their defense with 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks. That doesn't work. That does not work. There's no one left really to sign on defense. I guess they could bring in Juwan Jennings. They're probably going to bring in Brandon Ayuk. I think that's the consensus. But if you're going to trust Brandon Ayuk, ask the 49ers how that worked out for them. It didn't work out well because he essentially forfeited $40 million to go jerk off and drive fast by the stadium. That's what he did. So like you can't. I like the value. I'm all in for bringing Brandon Ayuk in, but as a luxury item, right? As like a 3rd receiver, if you're in a team like the Rams, for instance, or something, or even the Chiefs, like let's bring Brandon Ayuk to the Chiefs and have Ayuk, Worthy, and fucking Rasheed Rice. They're gonna sign Isaiah Bond. They're gonna bring back Josh Gordon. Justin Blackman's gonna be in that team. Let's get and they're gonna sign Henry Ruggs. It's gonna be a great team, bunch of speed guys. I just named a bunch of bums.
Yeah, that would be.
I think it should be the Titans. I really think it should be the Titans because, it's not a passing game weapon for Cam Ward, but it's going to take pressure off Cam Ward. And Jeremiah Love is an elite pass catcher. He's actually a better pass catcher than Jahmyr Gibbs from what I saw coming out of college. Jahmyr Gibbs drops a lot of passes. Jahmyr Gibbs is better with the ball in his hands after he catches the ball, but Jeremiah Love's bigger, longer, bigger target, and I think this is perfect for Cam Ward. So it's one of those two teams. You're right. All right, let's move back to we were talking about Tyler Algier. So they have the 3rd pick. That would be pretty high for Jeremiah Love, but he is probably the best player in the draft, him and Mendoza, like the most sure thing. So RB34, are you in on this? He's only 25 years old, I believe. 26, 25 years old. James Conner's a dinosaur. He's only there for 1 more year at most. Trey Benson's done for. I mean, I my love for Trey Benson, but I still have some hope. I'm just saying for the consensus, it's probably done for. So 34 seems like a value to me.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I was going to say. It was more so not that I'm in love with the player. It's just the price that he's going at. RB34, it just feels too low. Like there's some guys ahead of him that I would not mind grabbing at all. Honestly, both of the Pittsburgh backs, I wouldn't honestly with much that I have Algier for dynasty wise. That's just how I feel. It's too low of a price point.
The only issue is if they do draft Jeremiah Love, he's gonna be in the same situation he was with Bijan. Same exact situation, handcuff, right? Yeah. And he's stuck there because they signed him. It's only a 2-year deal, I guess. They can get out of it after 2 years, but that's not ideal. But running back 34 is worth a shot if you want to trade for him. I feel like that's pretty fucking fair. All right, let's move on to wide receivers. You ready?
Yep.
First name, we have Emeka Egbuka. Is it a Big Boo? How do you pronounce the name again? Is it? It's a Mika. This rookie wide sensation wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka.
You got to give credit to this rookie sensation wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka. Emeka Egbuka. Emeka Egbuka.
He learned how to pronounce the names by listening to the counselor. The thing is, Gronk's allowed to do that because he's a big dumb idiot, and we all love Gronk. We hate the counselor, and he doesn't. He's doing it like that's just a mistake on live TV, right? Like it's a little more pressure than what this guy's recording his stupid ass podcast. Although sadly he has like 30 or 40 times. He has like 40 times more subs than I do. God damn it, that fuck. You know what? People are dumb. People are dumb. People are dumb. They're not listening to this show with this great insight, with these great guests, with these great cutaways, with this. It's funny. It's informative. It's a hangout. They want to watch this clown's 14-minute video every 4 days, mispronouncing names and calling him Bijan Robinson. You idiot counselor. You idiot. Egbuka, wide receiver 12. This is gross. What the fuck is this, Chaz?
Very gross, dude. Way too high. way too high. I'm looking at these names about like that are below him. Give me all.
I'm going to give you the name right here. Garrett Wilson is the next name I have. Let's combine them.
Give me Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 14. Like, I know it's only 2 spots behind, and he's 2 years older, but like, we know Garrett Wilson's an elite NFL receiver. We know this. We know he's been in bad situations. We know that. It's still a bad situation, but it has to get better. And Chris Godwin's still there. Last time I checked, Jalen McMillan at the end of the season, whether that's injury to Ibuka or not, that's the one way we can get burned on this. Outplayed Ibuka per target and looks better. So wide receiver 12, I just don't think he's a number one receiver in the NFL. And if you're not a number one receiver in your team, how the fuck could he be a number one receiver in Dynasty or in fantasy? You can't.
I don't know. If you have him, I would try and up tier at all costs. Go get a guy like Ted. Go get Nico Collins. Go try and trade for Drake London, Malik Neighbors, any of those guys. Even if you have to add, or George Pickens, or even if you have to add a little bit on top of it, go do that in a heartbeat.
Hetzer says, it's wild to say, but I'd rather have Garrett Wilson than Emeka Ibuka. It's not that wild because we've seen Garrett Wilson have multiple 1,000-yard seasons. We've seen Ibuka have a 6-game stretch. I know he's only had 1 year, but like it's 1 year. And also Ibuka was a low 20s draft pick in first round. Like Garrett Wilson was a 10. 17. Was he 10th? Garrett
Wilson was. He
okay, maybe he was 17. He was right around top 10.
Ibuka was like 17. I know Garrett Wilson was like that 9 through 11 territory.
That's what I'm saying. So like just better prospect. They both went to the same school. Garrett Wilson is just better than Emeka Ibuka in real life. And we've seen production and he's still not old. So like give me Garrett Wilson all day long. I don't understand the love. Ibuka and Travion Henderson are 2 guys that like the community just has hard-ons for. And maybe I'm a hater. You can call me a hater, but like neither of them are also like, I know Henderson has that breakaway speed, which is nice. And he's a pass catcher. That is nice.
19.
Ibuka doesn't have that, right? Ibuka is not overly fast. He's pretty big, but like he doesn't play big. He drops a lot of passes. Like I know he's a rookie. I'm just saying like there's a lot of negatives in Ibuka's game, and I just don't see it. I guess he's tied to Baker Mayfield, but it's like he's not tied to fucking Tom Brady. He's not tied to fucking Patrick Mahomes. Like Baker Mayfield is wildly inconsistent. His numbers are fine, but watch the tape. Baker Mayfield misses so many goddamn throws. He also never stays healthy. Like he stayed healthy 1 year in his career. Like he plays through injury, yes, but that also hampers him. So like, there's been 1 year. There's been 1 year that Baker stayed healthy. You think he's ever going to change his play style? No, Baker Mayfield's a fucking crazy motherfucker. And I love it. I love Baker. I'm just saying like he never stays healthy, and that's a big issue for Ibuka. And if Ibuka's downfall was just because he played through that groin injury, then I will stand corrected. And I'm not totally fading Ibuka. I will have probably some shares this year. He's going around pick 38 in redraft, in best ball, early 4th round. I could see myself taking some shares if he fell to the end of the middle of the 4th, right? And maybe he won't though, because these motherfuckers love him. I think people will take him in the middle of the 3rd.
He's a fan.
I'm not doing. Let me ask you this question right now. Let's call it a half PPR to make my argument a little bit closer. Mike Evans or Emeka Ibuka this year in half PPR?
I'm gonna go Mike Evans just because of the fact of that offense, man. Like who else? I mean, you have Ricky P who can't stay healthy. They've got to take a load off CMC. Kittle's not gonna be back healthy to start the year. Is that well,
Mike Evans is a 5th round pick. He's a 5th round pick in fantasy. So you're talking 2 round difference. So that says all I need to say. Or I think you're more it's right in the middle, right? You're a little down on Ibuka and you're a little higher on exactly. Yeah. I think it's close to. I'll probably take Ibuka because the upside, but like watching Devontae Adams last year in that Rams system, I feel like it's gonna be shades of what we see of Mike Evans. I think the only difference is Mike Evans is very injury prone at the stage of his career. Right, Devontae Adams doesn't really miss games, and Matt Stafford's probably a little better than Brock Purdy, but Kyle Shanahan's a fucking amazing coordinator. And who else do you have there? George Kittle coming off an Achilles. You have Ricky Pearsall, who literally cannot stay on the field. As much as I love Ricky P. So like might be some games where it's Mike Evans and it's nobody else. You're getting 11 targets from Brock Purdy, schemed up from Kyle Shanahan. That's what dreams are made of, my dude.
Yeah, I mean I'd be pretty high, or I am pretty high on Mike Evans this year.
Hatcher says, I don't doubt Garrett Wilson's ability as a wide receiver. I doubt his quarterback. And okay, last year Geno Smith was awful, but you know what else was awful? Pete Carroll. And the offensive line and who he was throwing to. Brock Bowers was healthy for 3 quarters last year. They traded Jacoby Myers, who didn't want to be there. Remember the stuff in the preseason about Jacoby Myers, like wanted the contracts? Like he didn't want to be there. Trey Tucker, who is fucking terrible. Like that's their number one. I'm saying Trey Tucker's fine. As a number one, it's the worst number one I've ever heard of. Like that's what, and he had the worst offensive line in football and terrible play calling. So we're 2 years removed. It's definitely 3 years removed from Geno Smith being pretty goddamn good for fantasy, at least. I mean, he made Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf really relevant. So I'm not as worried about Geno Smith. And also, this is a prime spot for Ty Simpson. Now, I'm not a Ty Simpson guy, but Ty Simpson, if he goes there, now you have the upside of, okay, if Geno plays well, then Garrett Wilson will thrive and he keeps the job. If he doesn't, then you have a backup plan, a contingency plan for the quarterback spot. And now you can have some upside with a young quarterback. And what's a young quarterback going to lean on? Yes, it's a tight end, so it's going to be Mason Taylor. It's also they lock in on the number one target, and they literally throw 30+% of the target share to a guy like Garrett Wilson, who gets open at all 3 levels. So like that's the Garrett Wilson case, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, and I watched a lot of those Jets games last year, more so because I had Breece Hall and Justin Fields to start the year. If anyone else did that as well, they would know it is only up. It is only up from there with that Jets offense. I mean, it was horrible what they were putting out on the field last year. So that's only going to improve for Garrett Wilson.
I do believe Garrett Wilson was a top 5 fantasy receiver through 4 weeks. I know it's a 4-week sample size, but that's with Justin Fields. And I know you remember this, Chaz. Remember the offensive pass interference they called on Garrett Wilson in that game? That was the most phantom call ever. He ended up catching a late touchdown anyway, but like
it saved them.
It was like a 35-yard touchdown that they took off the board. So I'm saying like through 6 weeks, I want to say he was a top 8 fantasy receiver, and that's with a phantom bullshit call, and that's with Garrett Wilson on the that's with Justin Fields on the Jets. So he could do it with less. He just never put it together. And someone asked me a couple days ago, Chaz, who's this year's JSN? And I was trying to think, and I was also trying to like keep it in the framework of JSN going in the, it was early 3rd, mid 3rd last year. ADP was like 30, 31, 32. So like around, because it's not going to be a guy in the set. It's not about beating ADP. It's about this year's JSN, a guy that goes, from a good receiver to a great receiver, levels up.
Yeah. And
it's Garrett Wilson for me because the talent is undeniable. The situation is not great, but, a lot of people didn't believe in Sam Darnold. No, I'm not comparing Sam and Geno Smith. Geno Smith was the original Sam Darnold when he went to Seattle and performed admirably, 33 touchdowns for a year. Yeah. That's the easy answer, right? I don't think he has the upside of what JSN did, but I think he has the target. He could have 160 targets, and he will turn it into 110 catches. He won't have the touchdowns, but he could catch 7 or 8 touchdowns, right? He could have 110 catches and 1,300 yards, and that's the JSN essentially, because he's going around later. He's going early 4th round. That's the answer. I think that's right. Is that a right answer? Like that could be the guy.
That could be the guy. Now, Joy, you want to know who my extremely? Oh, it's not a hot take. Well, it is a hot take, but it's my take on DJ Moore and what numbers he could produce this year. I think he's going to go nuclear. And
yeah, he doesn't have to do as much to do it because where he's going. He's going in the 30s, right? Late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I think he's going around 30. Like 25 right now. I'd have to go recheck, but
what do you think, DJ Moore? What kind of upside are you talking about? 80 catches? Because he's not a 100 catch guy. Not with Josh Allen. He spreads the ball around too much.
I think it's 100 catches.
Really?
I think he's going to get 150 targets this year. I think it's going to be sensational.
Okay. Well, they want to make it work because they did trade for him.
I know they
And
traded a second round pick, and I think people just sleep on him too much. I really think he's going to get just force fed the ball. Obviously, you have Josh Allen, you have James Cook, but that third piece is going to be DJ Moore.
I would love it. And I'll be honest about the Wilson thing. He definitely checked out last year. Like I mentioned that he was a top 8 receiver through 6 weeks. He checked out. There was a game in particular. It was London. It was an overseas game. I don't know if it was London or Germany. They have a fucking million countries they do now. You remember the game against the Broncos? Yes. Remember that game?
They couldn't do anything. They literally couldn't.
Do you remember when they kneeled the ball down or they mismanaged the clock at the end of the half? And then he took his helmet off. I could see that was the moment for me. It's like those Breaking Bad fans out there know that we're always trying to find the moment that he became Heisenberg, that Bryan Cranston and Walter White became Heisenberg and made that transformation into evil. This was the moment that Garrett Wilson gave up in the season and gave up trying. And I love Garrett Wilson. I think he's a great kid. I think he's a competitor and he's very fiery. And that's the moment that he's just like, fuck this. And it's not a Justin Fields thing. This was an Aaron Glenn thing. Now, the problem with that is Aaron Glenn is still there, but he's not long for that job. But that was the moment I saw it. And I was like, since that point, he had the injury in that game. I feel like he milked that injury. He was like, what's the point of playing this year? What's the point? You know, and then this year it might be like that too. But they've made some nice additions on defense, a lot of veteran guys. They're going to be much more of a professional team. I think Aaron Glenn had a rude awakening on what if being a head coach. Now, he did fall asleep. He did fall asleep at the combine. So it's not a ringing endorsement of the guy fucking like leveling up as a coach and taking it more seriously. But there's a concern there. We're talking upside though. JS and upside. It is Garrett Wilson. We got to move on. We talked about Garrett Wilson for like 8 minutes.
Yeah, we've been talking.
Rashee Rice, wide receiver 16. So, and also I'm going to pair this with Xavier Worthy, wide receiver 34. So give me your pulse on both these guys. There is a chance Chiefs have 2 first-round picks. They have a second-round pick. So they have like 3 picks in the first 2 rounds, which is uncharted territory for the Chiefs. They could take a wide receiver. They could take one in the first round. They could take one in the second round. And now you have Kelsey coming back. And you have Mahomes coming off injury. This muddies the situation up. They're probably not going to bring Rashee Rice back. Right? He's had injury issues.
Probably not. Off
the field issues. Like, just get that guy out of the fucking building. And Xavier Worthy could be replaced at any point. So which one of these numbers, wide receiver 16, wide receiver 34, are you more in on? Worthy or Rice?
I would still go Rice just because I know that offense can be elite, and we saw what Rice did when, he came off that suspension. But the worry is, I think this is the year that they take a wide receiver. They want to get away from the off-the-field stuff. They want to kind of reset it and get a wide receiver on a rookie deal and have him for as long as they can with Mahomes still on his deal. So, but overall, I would still take Rice over Worthy at value.
Right. But in general, okay, let's take away though. Let's throw Worthy out. Okay, Worthy's worthless. Worthless Worthy. That's the new nickname on the show. And John that says Aaron Rude Awakening Glenn. I got nicknames coming out the ass in this show. I love it. Yeah. Worthless Worthy. We're throwing him out. Yep. Rashee Rice, wide receiver 16. Like, so obviously you like him at value more than Worthy, but what about relative to like the fact he's around Garrett Wilson, 2 spots below Garrett Wilson? Let me pull up the board here and let's take a look at
in best
who's
ball.
available.
Garrett Wilson is one receiver behind Rashee Rice, which I would watch that Wilson all day in that.
So Rashee Rice, we have T. Higgins after him, and then Lemon and Tate, which is wild rookies, but they're gonna be top half of the first round. AJ Brown, Luther Burden, Roman Dunze. I'm going to give you guys Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers or Rashee Rice in Dynasty right now, full PPR. And mind you, we're going to get a bag here. Zay Flowers is in contract extension talks right now. So who are you going to take over those guys? Here's Helen Hunt before you answer. Hi, Helen.
Hi, Helen. I love that choice on those pictures ready to go. All right. In the vacuum,
what do you think?
Give me Zay Flowers. They're not going to have. Now, I know with the rescindance of without that trade does damage, but still, I think it's just going to be Zay Flowers, and then you have Mark Andrews still there, obviously. But I think coming off of last year and going forward, I think Zay Flowers is that guy. I think they're going to try and pass the ball more there than they should be.
So we're both on the side of trading Rashee Rice.
Yes,
right now.
I'm on that side. I think he's just priced a little bit too high.
I agree. Hatcher says, would you rather have Jameson Williams or Garrett Wilson half PPR? In full PPR, it's easy Garrett Wilson, and I think this is more of a redraft question, but it's still Garrett Wilson for me. I'm not, Isaac Tesla could take a step up. Sam Laporta's back healthy. It's not Jameson Williams is so goddamn. I rewatched Jameson every route from Jameson Williams last year, dude. He has drop issues like you wouldn't believe. Like, and we all know he has bad hands. I'm telling you, like, as a guy that went into this video knowing Jameson Williams has knucklehead tendencies and just concentration drops and just kind of rough hands, this was really bad. Like, really, really bad from Jameson Williams. But you see the play where he catches an 8-yard crosser and takes it to the fucking house and beats 5 defenders. So
that's pretty nice.
The difference is that Garrett Wilson does all the same thing. He's not quite as explosive with the ball in his hands, but he has, glue hands, where Jameson Williams has like the opposite of cum. It's not sticky. It's like
some Vaseline on the hands.
Yeah, Vaseline's opposite. He has lube on his hands. There it is.
Yeah.
Lube. The ball goes right through him. And also just his footwork in terms of like boundary catches. Like Xavier Worthy is obviously the worst of those things, but Jameson Williams is not far behind. But Jameson Williams is just way better than Xavier Worthy, but he's just way worse than Garrett Wilson. So the answer is easily Garrett Wilson, right?
Yeah, I mean, I read those two names and I thought, man, Garrett Wilson, no matter what kind of format it is.
Jay, Rice is accused of domestic battery, and there's pictures. And regardless of that, this is now strike 2 because the drag racing thing, the Henry Rugg could have been a Henry Rugg situation.
Could have been.
Already been suspended 6 games. Like, I think the Chiefs stuff. Remember how for a while the Chiefs players got away with everything, Tyreek Hill in particular. And then the Chiefs thing has faded, right? The stupid Taylor Swift shit. So like now they're not immune to these suspensions. So now this is strike 2, and the NFL does not fuck around with domestic violence, whether you did it or not. You saw Quinshon Judkins he missed 1 game because he wasn't ready because he didn't do any OTAs or preseason, but he didn't do anything wrong. But they took it so serious they kept him away from the team. So Rashee Rice, the fact that it's a second strike with the NFL in terms of conduct, he just seems like he just seems like an idiot. Like, not quite Brandon Ayuk level, but he really has some issues, man.
Very cute.
Oh,
what's his name?
It's Kwame.
It's Kwame. Kwame. Mm-hmm. Nice name. Nice name.
Thank you. I think so too.
It's a little light for Kwame, no?
What?
A lot of names to pick, but it was a little darker, maybe.
Yeah, can you go?
That's very scary.
You need to get out.
Hey, any of you guys want ginger ale?
Get the fuck out.
There's your Rashee Rice plus Brandon Ayuk clip. All right, we got to move on. We got 3 more names at wide receivers. We have a couple tight ends to talk about. We'll get to all your questions after this. Before I get to anything else, though, I want to shout out to the Patreon subscribers, the supporters of the show. We appreciate all of you guys. Chaz pointing at the hat here. Thank you, Hetzer, especially you, for doing a year membership to the Semi-Pro to get in the Discord. Appreciate you. And besides just supporting your boy here, a lot of perks here. Access to the Discord, like we mentioned, it is the place to be. Community fantasy leagues. We still have a couple spots in the Dynasty League. We might move it up to 14 teams for the Dynasty Startup we're doing here in a month. Guys, if you want to get in now. Guest appearances on the show. You want to talk some ball and rip on Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice and Brandon Ayuk with us, you're welcome to. Sit between me and Chaz here, me and Storey, me and Ray. You know the crew. Also, free merchandise giveaways. We're giving away this hat. I now have shirts. If you didn't notice, Chaz, I'll be giving you one of these.
I saw that. I
Bad
was
Boys.
going to ask you about it.
When you get into town after you graduate college, I'll give you one of these shirts to rep. You're probably taking a small.
Medium. I'll be taking a medium. That's what I get. It used to be small.
I'm an XL. Okay. Also, you get access to these bats.
Fact check you on that one.
Access to these bats, guys. 96 and 58. You're not finding those numbers anywhere. These are all tickets I send to the Discord when I make the bet. You can place the same bet at the same book that I place, 96 and 58, even odds pretty much. -10 on most of these bets. And it's not just last year, it's a 4-year sample of winners, guys. So you're going to make more money by signing up than you would by not signing up. Or if you want to keep on placing your own bets, if you're sharp, maybe you're winning money. There's a reason books are very, very lucrative. Vegas is winning is because everyone loses. We don't lose in this channel. And also, we're going to have Mike Storey adding in his college picks. Mike Storey is a college guru. So you're going to get those on Saturdays.
Yeah.
A lot of free picks, essentially free picks. It's $10 a month to get the picks, as well as every other perk in the Patreon. You get to vote on show ideas, secret shows. You're going to get access to our once-a-week private show, start-sit questions just for you guys, so you don't have to wait around to get your answer. It's really worth it. So support your boys, professionalfanatics.com. Go to the link of this video or just go to Patreon. I'll get you in as soon as you join. And Chaz, what do we call the Discord? What do we call it? It's the
I think it's
the place to be.
What do you call it, Kramer? It was. Come on, already. Come on. We call it the place. The place to be. Yes.
There's the place to be. Also, guys, we need 2 more supers, and I chug a beer and take a shot. And there it is. Every 5 supers is a beer chug. Also, if you want to sign up for the Patreon, why not just sign up now? And I'll do a chug and a shot for that during the live stream. I like to chug. I'm getting hammered tonight. Also got a concert tomorrow. We're doing a late show tomorrow night after the concert. Me and Big Ray. You know how we rock. And this is what I'm going to do.
Hang on.
It's a man body right there. It's all man, buddy. All fucking man. All right, couple names left here. DJ Moore, your boy, wide receiver 40 in Dynasty. He is 28 years old, and mind you, an old 28 because he was 20 as a rookie. So he's been in the league for a long time, but wide receiver 40, like, he's got 3 years left, right? I mean, he's in their plans.
Yeah.
This should be an easy smash for you, right?
I mean, I was already telling you about what I think about DJ Moore, and I was waiting for you to kind of bring him up for this segment, but I kind of had to bring him up a little bit earlier. I love DJ Moore. I love the player that he is. I think he's going to be a star over there in Buffalo. And wide receiver 40 is just way too low in my opinion.
Where do you think you would have him?
Where would
30?
I have him? Let me look. I would go. Yeah, 30, because I wouldn't put him above like Jordan Tyson, J-Mo, or Waddle, but I would have him above Metcalf, Christian Watson, Ricky Pearsall, Scary Terry.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it just seems too easy. Wide receiver 40, tied to Josh Allen. Like, I feel like they will address the wide receiver position, specifically the X wide receiver position, if they're out on Keon Coleman, which we think they are. Considering their coaching change was just promoting Joe Brady, who is part of the reason, and he's also been vocal about hating on Keon Coleman. It'll be a day 2 or day 3 pick, right? It won't be a first-round pick. It won't be a top 8 receiver in the class, and we're not worried about that player, whoever it is, threatening DJ Moore. I'm not personally.
I wouldn't be worried at all. There's a lot.
All right, next name. I went out of order a little bit. Alec Pierce, wide receiver 36. This is another one that I just can't believe he's this low after the contract and after Michael Pittman's gone. And maybe there's some concern about the quarterback play with Daniel Jones coming off the Achilles and, like what's his future there. Early season might be rough with the Achilles with Daniel Jones, but wide receiver 36. I know this is PPR and, he's coming off his best year is 47 catches. But I expect that number to go way up because I expect them to use him in much more versatile way, right? Where they want to get the ball in his hands and just make him a focal point of the offense, opposed to using him essentially as a sacrificial X receiver. So before we get to liking it or hating it, which I think you're going to like it, what do you think the upside is for catches and targets for Alec Pierce? Because he's been hovering around that 90 to 100 target range, which isn't bad for an X receiver that's going downfield, but is it like 130 for Alec Pierce?
I was going to say 125. So I think we're around the same ballpark there about how many targets we're going to see. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, you look at the amount of targets that's leaving, and that is going to be in an offense that is usually pretty good. Now, obviously, it might take a couple games, as you said, with Daniel Jones to come back to form, but they were great last year in those first 8 games. So I could see them reaching that level again, which means Alec Pierce is going to be doing great, like more towards the end of the season.
And the nice thing is the targets, like, yeah, 125 targets doesn't sound that great, but for a guy that averages 20 yards per catch, which it'll probably go down this year because they're gonna have more design touches for him. But even if it's at 17, you know, like they're gonna give him many more looks in the intermediate and short passing game. So his reception, the percentage of catches from the targets are going to go up, right? Instead of 55 or 60%, it might go to 65%. So now you're looking at possibly 70, 75 catches, and you do the math on, you know, his, let's just say it's 16 yards per catch, which is still pretty elite. You're looking at 1,200 yards. And I think it's a big projection. We're doing a lot of projecting here, but I'm not projecting because the money says it's not a big projection. And the competition is literally Tyler Warren, who is not exactly a seam stretching tight end. He's more in the underneath game, and Josh Downs, who's a slot receiver. And they really wish they had Adonai Mitchell. Now they don't. They don't have a first round pick this year. They have a lot of holes in this team. They did not. All they did in free agency was just pay Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce, and then a couple mediocre deals. So like they have a lot of holes to fill. So if it goes into the year status quo as Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, and Tyler Warren, and Jonathan Taylor. Like, Jonathan Taylor doesn't take a lot of targets away in the passing game. Like, Alec Pierce at wide receiver 36 in Dynasty and also wide receiver like 34 in redraft. This just seems free. I thought he'd be like overvalued, right? With what happened. Why is he not?
I thought the same thing. I think the same thing about both Pierce and DJ Moore. I don't know why the market's not overcorrecting. Instead, they didn't correct at all. It felt like.
No, they did not. So we love Alec Pierce there at 36. I would have him more like wide receiver 28. I think that's a fair number to kind of, gauge some of the risks that we have. Last name here. This one's pretty wacky and wild. Travis Hunter, wide receiver 47. I have no idea what to do with this one. I can make an argument that he is overvalued at 47. I can also make an argument this is the ultimate buy at 47 because we just don't know how they're going to use them. The receiver room is very deep. They paid Jacoby Myers. Brian Thomas is, 1 year removed from a 1,400-yard season. Parker Washington was a fucking world beater last year. Brenton Strange is a fine tight end. Now, I suppose, they lost Travis Etienne, and Basel Tootin is not that guy as a receiver, and Chris Rodriguez is definitely not that guy. So you have some of those opened up. It's a crowded room. And the defensive stuff is just the big X. This is an X factor pick. This is a winning pick or a losing pick, but it's not really, you're not losing much because the value to get him, wide receiver 47, they're not really talking about much.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very polarizing player. I mean, like we saw flashes where he made a couple contested catches last year, but then it's like, now you have reports coming out, which I by the way, I would not listen to any of those. Go by what they show on the field when they start the season. But I mean, if you can trade I would say Josh Downs, Mike Evans. I wouldn't mind trading Parker Washington for him. I mean, it's a flyer pick. You're not trading anyone of substance. I would go and trade a flyer type person for him.
On the same team, we'd definitely rather have Travis Hunter than the little pipsqueak there in Parker Washington, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. I know Parker gained a lot of value at the end of last year, but I still go Travis Hunter.
You're never going to win your league because of Parker Washington. It's just not going to happen. No. And you could win your league because of Travis Hunter based on draft capital. And here's the one upside with Travis Hunter. Where he's going is nice, but the fact that they took him second overall, and that's one thing. They also traded another first-round pick to move up to take him. Those two things lead me to believe that this front office, they need to make him a thing. And you might be like, well, Rob, they won 13 games last year. We saw the Eagles take Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. That happened. And it didn't really matter because they're the Philadelphia Eagles. This is the Jacksonville Jaguars. As much as I love Liam Cohen, This team definitely got worse after the offseason. Okay. They have gotten worse. They lost Devin Lloyd. They lost ETN. They lost some other pieces. They lost their corner or one of their corners. Like, they need to make Travis Hunter at least be somewhat of a decent pick. It's never going to even out. Like, I don't care what he does. It's a bad trade, bad draft pick. Like, he needs to become, like, what does he have to become? Like, fucking JSN to make this worthy? I'm just saying, JSN was not taken nearly as high, and he wasn't traded up for. So, like, when you think about all these elite receivers, I mean, not even talking about Puka, who was like a 5th round pick, but like St. Brown, also a 5th round pick. It's funny we're talking about the best receivers in football being that late. But let's just talk about guys like Jamar Chase, right? Guys like JSN, guys like Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, like all these guys. Marvin Harrison, who's been a pretty big bust, was still not taken 2nd overall. Wasn't Marvin Harrison 4th overall?
Yeah, he was 4th. He was after the big 3 QBs.
But it wasn't okay. He was 4th overall, but they didn't trade up to get him either. So like 2nd overall and a trade up. Like when we just like look at this from afar, like what the fuck is this? Why did you do this? And like I'm not into two-way players. It's not even a thing I'm not into because it doesn't exist. With Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson, the only 2 players to ever do it successfully or even do it in general. I guess you could give me Mike Vrabel, who played a little bit of offense. Those guys were playing like 2% of the snaps and catching touchdowns. So it just there's no precedent for it. And the NFL is not college. He was also playing in a low-level Colorado. Like it wasn't like he was doing this in Oklahoma or Alabama. So like the fact they thought they could make this work, it's not going to work. So it's just they have to do something to make this somewhat justified. And for me, it's not because he's going to be a good defender, because I don't think he's a very good corner. I think at best he comps as a number 2 corner in the league, which is fine. But you take number 2 corners in the 4th round, right? And if the plan is he's going to be a fine number 2 corner and then a gadget wide receiver, that's a 3rd round player. And then we're talking about trading up 2 overall. Like, none of it makes any sense. That's why for me, wide receiver 47, it should be 27, honestly, because I am buying on Travis Hunter because the opportunity cost is pretty much 0. It's 0. I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's pretty much 0. Just take the flyer. Why not?
I wonder where he's going to go in our dynasty draft, Chaz. Are you and Ray going to take him? I think Ray hates him.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to Ray about what players he likes, what players he doesn't like, and then we also got to just figure out where we're picking in the draft. That tells us a lot about our draft strategy.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready, and we're gonna have a lot of shit talking. I feel like in the group.
Simple Jack, the story of a mentally impaired farmhand who can talk to animals, was a box office disaster that many critics called one of the worst movies of all time.
Got a good brain.
I think you've got a fine brain, Jack.
You make me happy.
But now the question is, can speed...
All right, let's move on to tight ends. I have 3 tight ends to talk about. First one, Isaiah Likely, tight end 13, Chaz. I think that's really fucking high. I think that's too high. He's not an old guy. He's not a young guy. Right in that meaty part of the age gap. How old is he? Do you know? Is he 26?
25.
Okay, I guess he's kind of young. But I don't know.
I kind of like where he's priced. I think I think it could be a couple lower. Like I would still have Stowers over him. I would still have Kittle over him. But I wouldn't take Goddard over him. I wouldn't take Taylor over him. I wouldn't take Barner or Andrews. So I think they have him kind of ranked rightly.
But I like Theo Johnson a hell of a lot, man. So it's not like I know he's going to be the receiving option at tight end, but like Evan Ingram was the fucking Broncos receiving option last year. And we're putting a lot of faith in the Giants. And like I really like Theo Johnson. I know Jackson Dart loves Theo Johnson, and Isaiah Likely can't block. So what if they draft Carnell Tate? What if they draft an early wide receiver? Now the pecking order goes down. What if they draft Jeremiah Love? And now you have a run first team. Now you're gonna have a lot more 12 personnel where he'll be on the field, but I'm not into guys splitting work. And I know 10 and 13 isn't super high, but I just don't see the upside of like I think that Mason Taylor at wide receiver or tight end 18. I could make an argument for Mason Taylor. I really could. He's younger. I feel like he has that job and he will continue to have that job because he's going to crush this year. Am I crazy to say that? 18 to 13?
I don't think so. I mean, as I said, I wouldn't mind moving likely down a couple of slots. I just don't know about some of those older guys. I mean, if you want to go with someone younger like Taylor, I could definitely be on board with that.
Well, so here's my thing. Okonkwo, he is at like 25, right? So Okonkwo he's the number one in Washington. I have an argument that I want Okonkwo over Isaiah Likely for this season if they don't bring anyone in. If they go in status quo, if both teams go in with this depth chart, you have Neighbors, you have Theo Johnson splitting some snaps there. You have Scatabo with touchdowns. You have Darius Slayton, who they paid a lot of money to. I'm not saying he's great. And you go to the Washington side of the ball, it's Terry McLaurin. It is Terry McLaurin, it's Terry McLaurin, who's going to get a lot of double teams. Like, I could make an argument. I want Okonkwo this year, next year over Isaiah Likely. And I'm saying I can make an argument. I'm not making that argument. I'm saying 10 and 13 to 10 and 28, you said? That seems like I prefer the guy that's a lot cheaper, that's going to have the same role. And I'd bet you that Okonkwo has a higher snap share this year than Isaiah Likely. What offense do you have more faith in?
Oh, offensively, I have more faith in the Giants, but
then the Commanders, they were just a top 5 offense, dude. Like,
no. I have the Giants this year over offensively.
Over the Commanders.
The Commanders, yeah.
You want to make a board bet right now?
I mean, I won't do that. But
you just said it. Why are you saying it if you won't make a bet on it?
Because I don't want to. But you like Commanders. You think the Commanders are going to?
Don't say it. Hey, don't put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is.
You playing something good?
Hell yeah! Rolling Stone, street fighting man, G7.
You just hit G8.
If you like pina coladas.
So you won't make the bet, even though you said it. So don't say it. So you think the Commanders are better then, is what you're saying? They're better offense.
No, it's just I haven't. I don't have that much faith in it.
Okay. Either way, 28 to 13. So are you in on this number? Because I'm not in on this number. I'm close to it. It should be more like 15 to me because I have to see it first.
I wouldn't say I was in. I would just. I mean, I said you can lower him by a couple picks. I would still have a couple guys over him that I saw on that list, but a couple picks means 15 to 16. So if that's also what you agree with, then that's what we'll go with.
All right, next name, AJ Barner, tight end 18. I don't really know what to make of this. He's a young guy, good in the blocking game, but they don't throw to tight ends very often. They like Elijah Arroyo there as well. He's a big field stretcher, and could you see AJ Barner kind of just being that guy that just becomes a tight end too? You know,
I could. That's what I see. It just feels like this is because, you know, Walker left, and then it's like, okay, like who's gonna help fill that role, or like who's gonna help fill, you know, just what needs to be done in the offense, and it feels like that's where Barner gets kind of brought up a little bit, but I don't see him as being tight end 19 in Dynasty.
I don't either. Let's get to a couple of questions here. What do you guys think? Who do you guys think will be the best defensive team, defensive/special teams team this year in fantasy? My answer is I don't give a fuck because I won't draft any defensive team ever. Really, last year I targeted Seattle and it worked out great for me, and they were undrafted. So it's never draft any of the top 3 teams because they go in the 10th, 11th, or 12th round. So who do I think it will be? Sorry if I was being an asshole. I'm trying to think. Seattle, but they lost some pieces, right? Seattle lost some pieces. Houston's probably the answer. I think it's probably Houston. But I
Yeah,
will
I
not be
was
caught
thinking
dead drafting any of those teams because I like to stream defense. And what happened to me last year is I normalized stream defense, and I ended up with maybe 12 shares of Seattle in 36 leagues because they had a good week 1 matchup. That's what I draft is the last round. I draft whoever has the best matchup. And they actually had the Niners, but they were at home. And I was just like, I saw the week 2 and week 3 was nice. So I was like, I'm going to roll the dice with the Seahawks. And a couple of weeks, I actually picked them up after the first week. I'm saying like, that's why it's so volatile year to year. The top 3 teams never finish number 1. Usually they finish like 8, 9, 10. The difference between defense 8 and defense 16 is like 1.5 fantasy points a game. I don't give a fuck about 1.5 fantasy. Like, we're talking about 6 rounds or 8 rounds difference in draft capital. That is such like you're talking about the elite handcuffs. You're talking about guys like Tyler Algier. You're talking about guys like, Brian Robinson now that he's on Atlanta, like guys I could have on my team that could win a league for me. Where the defense, it's not. And also, like, you just never know when to play them. I'm out on ever drafting kickers, and maybe Brandon Aubrey, maybe. But these kickers also lose their touch. They lose their touch. I don't do any of that shit. I don't care. I also love the challenge, and it's one of the few things when I draft my great teams, which, as you know, Chaz, most of them are great. I don't have a lot of weekly decisions outside of bye weeks, right? Yeah. What I like to do is have the weekly decision on streaming defense and kicker, and I like the challenge. I like the grind. I like the chase, right? It's like trying to like hook up with girls. Like the sex is actually not as fun as the chase. The chase is more fun, and for me, the chase and getting that, even if it's a team like the Bengals, but they're playing the Jets, like. I'm not using a waiver claim. I'm at 2 a.m. at my home leagues. I'm picking that fucking team up. Maybe the Bengals ain't the best example, but you get my point. Like, I just like picking on there's going to be 3 really bad teams this year, especially like really bad teams. Dolphins, Jets, Cardinals, maybe Raiders, where you just want to just stream your defenses against these teams, guys. Last year, it was stream your defense against J.J. McCarthy. That was pretty good business. I want to do that all day. So I get really upset about the comment about defenses because you know how I play, Chaz, and I just am not about ever spending capital. And if you want to take a defense in the second to last round, even third to last round, like a defense 7, defense 8 that's drafted, and you have some hope in them, whether it be the schedule early in the season or, a team that has, a bunch of young players, or you like the coordinator or something like that. But also injuries happen, and like you also have bye weeks. And if you have that elite defense, guess what you have to do? You have to roster 2 defenses week 8. And if you have short benches, I don't want to do that. I don't want to drop a guy like Tyler Algier from last year. I won't do it. I want my league winners on my bench because that's how you win leagues. It's not defensive teams. It's really not. It's rare.
Yeah, I did the same thing that you did with kickers. Mostly I would just kind of pick one and then I would more so kind of stream them. Same with defenses, but then all the leagues that I'm in, we've gone away from kickers and defenses because it felt like it was just kind of pointless. Is what we thought. So we honestly eliminated them. I don't play in any leagues right now that have kickers or defenses. So it's pretty nice.
And on the point of the kickers, like my number 1 kicker I had last year was Jason Myers. So I had the stack. I had Seahawks and Myers and I had Myers in like 14 leagues, and he was like the number 2 kicker, undrafted. Like, and it was available week 4, mind you. So it was like year to year, these guys change so much. And I had this argument with this dude, Mitch, who's in the Discord, who I played 10 Fantrax public leagues with him last year. And he's a guy that drafts the first or second defense in round 11 because he has his team stacked, and he's just like, and he'll take 2 other ones. He'll just take like 3 defenses and roster 3 defenses all year. And granted, these Fantrax leagues are 18 rounds and no trades. But I was facing him at the end of the season in some of the playoffs matchups, and he has 4 defenses on his team, and like injuries happen, and he has no depth. So when something happened, he had Rashee Rice in a couple teams, and he missed the semifinal. He had to pick up a guy from the wire, and it was like, dude, and like my defense, and I'm outscoring him in some of the leagues, and it was like, dude, don't do that. There's always 9, 10, 11, 12 defenses available, and I know it sucks to start the Raiders defense, but like maybe they're playing the Browns. You know what I mean? Like, that's a shitty game. You're going to get 9 points, 8 points. Who cares? Like, 4 points doesn't make the difference for me. For me, it's about the upside of injuries and handcuffs, and then high upside rookies. And then, taking tight ends, having a Harold Fannin last year on my roster. Like, give me Harold Fannin all day on my bench over a second defense. Like,
League winner for some leagues.
This year it could be a guy, Kenyon Sadiq. Josh has thoughts on Rice from Kansas City. We talked about it earlier, actually. We had him. He's wide receiver 16 in Dynasty, and he's actually going right around the same range in redraft. Hold on. I think I have a proper clip here for him. Here we go. I have something here. This is a good one, too.
Look at this. This is Laurence Olivier and Othello. And this is James Earl Jones. Now look at how close they look.
Look at that. James Earl Jones doing a great blackface.
James Earl Jones has a black face. He's a black man.
He's not black. James
Of course
Earl
he's
Jones-
black.
He was Darth Vader.
Darth Vader was black?
No,
See? Okay, there we go.
Darth Vader was not black. They took the mask off. He was white.
To answer your question, Rashee Rice is definitely a black man. Moving on. Your top 10 fantasy wide receivers this year. This is way too early for this question. I don't have it in front of me. I'll tell you this much. I think Garrett Wilson's going to crack that top 10. I really think he's going to crack. I'm in draft mode, too.
I think this is... Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see Garrett Wilson getting there. I know we were talking about him earlier, so I got him in a couple of my leagues. So I really hope he will progress as what we think he should. Go back to being a superstar.
Yeah, I'd like to give you that list, but I just don't have the stuff in front of me. I have Dynasty stuff in front of me, which is not quite comparable. Guys, we have 7 minutes and 51 seconds left on the goal. It's my birthday in an hour. Give me a beer chug and a shot. And if I don't get it, I'll probably do it fucking anyway. But 2 supers gives me a beer chug and a shot on the show. And maybe I'll even take my shirt off. We have one more name to talk about here in terms of Dynasty and tight ends. We're on tight ends now. It is Kenyon Sadiq, tight end 23. Why the fuck is he tight end 23? Why? I'm not a Kenyon Sadiq guy. I think he's overrated. I think he is a underwear Olympic hero. I don't think he's that great of a football player. I think he will become one because he's 20 years old, I believe. 21, super young.
Yep.
Tight end 23. Like, what are we doing? Like, why is he going 5 spots after AJ Barner? What the hell is up?
That's the exact name that I was going to bring up. Like that, I would much rather have much rather have Sadiq over Barner.
Even if he goes to a team like the Chiefs or the Ravens, let's say it's the Ravens, right? Who is, Andrews is younger than Kelsey. Isaiah Likely was pretty relevant with Mark Andrews in his prime. Mark Andrews is going to be going away in a couple of years, and Kenyon Sadiq is just a much better athlete and a receiver in terms, not so much goal line, red zone. That's obviously Mark Andrews, but 23. Like, I'm trying to think of like a bad landing spot, because if he goes to a bad team, he'll just get force-fed targets, right? Yep. If he goes to a spot where he's kind of blocked, it'll be a good team where eventually it'll open up for him. So, man, this is, I feel like the biggest smash in Dynasty, and I'm not even a Kenyon Sadiq guy. I like Max Clare. I am tempted to put Max Clare over him for the draft. I think Max Clare is the most pro-ready tight end. I think he could have a Sam Laporta, maybe not Brock Bowers rookie year, but like that level of production. He is ready to come in and just dominate. But 23 is just the craziest thing. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
Way too low. I mean, when you sent me the list, I thought he was going to be higher. And then I was looking for him, scrolling. I'm like, man, I don't see him at all. And it's like 23. It's like just a bit too low.
Very much so. Josh is in here, says, bear down. Happy birthday. Thoughts on our offseason so far? I don't know if you watched the show before, Josh. We are all Bears fans. I think everybody but Nick O isn't. Nick, we're all from Chicago, originally at least. Hastings lives in North Carolina, but we're all Bears fans besides Nick O. He's a Niners fan. But what are your thoughts, Chaz? Give me your thoughts on our offseason. Obviously, Drew Dahlman retiring is rough. I'm not a big fan of the Devin Bush signing. It's not that I hate Devin Bush. The fact that we could have paid $5 more million a year to get Devin Lloyd, we should have just taken Devin Lloyd, and then we lost some secondary guys. So, and the DJ Moore trade, which I kind of like, if we can turn that pick into something. Trade. So give me your thoughts on the Bears offseason so far, and give me a letter grade as well.
So far I'm gonna go. Some of this also isn't the Bears' fault. But I'm gonna go a C right now, just because Dahlman retiring kind of threw a wrench and everything, and then I was like, okay, now we got to go get a center, and then it's like, okay, now we got to go pay other players. I see a lot of my friends always talking about still talking about Max Crosby. That is not what we should be doing at all. I don't know why they're saying that, especially if we're gonna have to give up 2 firsts for him. We like there's too many holes that we have to fill in order to get to a place where we're gonna trade 2 firsts for a guy like Max Crosby. And as you said, the signings, especially Devin Bush, not the best. We got a motivated. Oh God, what was his name? The motivated D tackle that we got. That's my friends and I always joke about that. Motivated Io or something like that. Dio. I forgot his name, but it's the whole Dome. I think they were wrenching it. Keys had to pivot a little bit. We'll see what happens in the draft. I don't know. I don't know so far.
I agree with C. I think C's fine.
Yeah, C's fine.
DJ Moore loss isn't that bad because we need Luther Burden to be a thing, and Roma Dunze better be a thing. 9th overall draft pick, like he has to. And Colson Loveland gives us that, a little bit of insurance that we have. He's probably gonna be the number 1 target. It's not ideal to have your tight end that's a 22-year-old player be your number 1. But Caleb Williams is a guy that extends plays. He's not a timing guy either. I know Ben Johnson wants him to be one, and he may develop into that, but he's not Jared Goff. So he doesn't need the weapons Jared Goff has. Like Caleb Williams can make more with less. And I'm in on the team. I feel like with Caleb Williams' progression and what we expect will happen and what should happen, a C is actually a B because we're going to advance second year in Ben Johnson's offense. Now the schedule, we're going to play a first place schedule, all that mumbo jumbo. I understand that we could have a rougher year than people think, but it hinges on Caleb. That is really the bottom line. And the Caleb we saw from the second half of the season was so much better than the Caleb we saw in the first half of the season, which was so much better than the Caleb we saw in his rookie year. And those 3 progressions tell me that year 3 Caleb might be as good, if not better, than we saw in the postseason and the end of the season. If that's the case, that's all you need. Now, Super Bowl, probably not, but I think we're gearing towards it's baby steps. I go back to the NBA, right? You got to make the playoffs, then you got to lose in the first round, then you got to lose in the second round, then you got to get to the conference championship, and maybe you can make your mark. And that's where we're trending right now. Maybe let's just say we go to the second round again. That'd be a win for me because Caleb, that's experience. That is major experience for Ben Johnson. That's major experience for these young receivers. Major experience for Caleb Williams. And then 2027 is our year to strike. And we still have some draft picks. And I have hope, man. And I'm more of a self-deprecating Bears fan. I'm not as big of a Bears fan as you and Ray and some of the other guys here. I'm a fantasy fan. I'm a gambling fan. I like money. So that's my thing. So I'm going to say it straight. I'm not just going to suck off the Bears and just, whenever something happens good or whenever, the other thing is the Bears fans, when shit goes wrong, they're super negative. Like, oh my God, I got to the first 8 games. Caleb Williams sucks. I was like, dude, I knew Caleb Williams was raw. I knew he couldn't actually play NFL ball right away. So like, I don't have those rose colors, Bears colored glasses on. I look at the Bears like I look at the Titans or the Jaguars or any other NFL franchise. I just happen to root for them. So I can give you actual, and I think you're pretty good at that too, compared to most people your age and just most Bears fans. And, Bears fans are kind of right in the middle in terms of smart football fans. There's definitely dumber, like the Eagles fans. Those are the probably worst in the world because they're homer pieces of shit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of smarter fan bases, the Steelers, the Vikings, that they actually know ball. And the Bears fans are kind of right down the middle because we're a big city. And that's why I can't go to Bears games because I can't sit around these motherfucking idiots who, I went to a game a couple of years ago. It was a Trubisky versus Daniel Jones game. And the end of the Trubisky era, we sucked. And then both teams had like 3 wins in fucking December. And, what's best for the franchise? I know it sucks to root for your team to lose, but sometimes losing is the best thing for your team. And the comments they're making about play to play and then just in general, like rooting for them to win and just getting pissed when like, dude, like, what do you do? You're not watching the same shit I'm watching. Like, first of all, who cares? We're there to watch football and drink beer. The game was meaningless. Winning the game was the worst, absolute worst thing that we could do. And like, these people don't know any better. They're always like, I just want to beat the fucking Packers. Like, I don't give a fuck about beating the Packers. It's nice, Chaz. But, like, is it really nice? Like, I'd rather just win 14 games. I'd rather go 0-2 against the Packers and win 14 games. These fuckers are like, dude, I don't care if we win 2 games all year. If we go 2-0 against the Packers, Like that's like vendetta shit. Like,
yeah,
that's like when your wife divorces you, you're like, I want her to get herpes. Like, dude, who cares if your wife has herpes? She left you. Don't think about your wife. She's gone. Move on and find yourself a better woman. Like, that's the thing about the Bears Packers. And it's just, it really grinds my gears. Some of these just football fans in general. And that's why I watch football with my wife, who not the smartest fan in the world, does really want fantasy, but I'm molding her into understanding the game and understanding like what matters in sports. And like most of these people just don't get it. And they're so blind. These are the season ticket holders too, Chaz. It's hilarious. They're just rich white assholes.
Technically, I'm that now. So I'm
yeah, but you're not going to be the typical rich. You're not going to be the typical rich, season ticket holder asshole, right? You're the guy that actually knows ball. If you were that person, I would never have you on my show, Chaz.
Oh, I know that. I definitely know that. But no, I mean,
you were 5 minutes late today, Chaz. I wanted to kick you off the show already.
Yeah, that was my bad. But the one thing was last year. Remember when we beat the Packers at the end of the season? I was telling my friends, I'm like, guys, this is. I mean, I love beating the Packers, but like, there was no point in winning this game. And my friends like, Chaz, what the fuck are you talking about? It's the Packers. We need to try and beat them. I'm like, man, we missed the playoffs. I mean, we cost us out of a couple of draft picks. I mean, we still got Colson Loveland. We still got Luther Burton, which is great. But I was just like, why are we like they were hating on me so much for not liking the fact that we beat the Green Bay at the end of the year. That one.
Now, there's certain cases I will say that it's important, and I'm going to reference the Detroit Lions beating Aaron Rodgers in his last game in Green Bay when that game didn't matter. But Dan Campbell's a different kind of coach, and that was a different kind of team. Remember, they started off like 0-5, 0-6, and they ended up winning 8 games, and that was their Super Bowl, and that kind of set the foundation of what we saw the Lions became. And that's a different story because they weren't a 3-win team. Losing going from the 19th pick to the 21st pick is not a big deal. I'm talking about teams that have 4 wins. Like, dude, at that point, like, there ain't no culture. There's no culture building. There is no building
rival.
blocks. Your coach is going to be fired. This Dan Campbell situation was different. That was, we're going to set our tone and make our mark in this division, and we're going to send Aaron Rodgers off with an L and make them miss the playoffs. That kind of stuff, that makes a lot of sense. But that's few and far between in what I'm talking about. And like, what was that? The Patriots last year, 2 years ago? Remember the Joe Milton game? They cost themselves the first pick, and they ended up getting short-armed T-Rex Will Campbell when they would have had Will Campbell anyway, but they would have had the first pick. They could have traded down, right? Imagine that. They would have traded down, still got Will Campbell. Look what the Jags traded up to get Travis Hunter for Mason Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they had the first-round pick, the Titans might have traded, they would have had an extra first. Exactly. And that Titans first rounder next year is going to be a top 10 pick. So it's Titans have the number 5 pick. So it would have had the number 5 pick in this current draft had they not won that game. So like, and there's some dumb fans out there, probably the Patriots are like, fuck yeah, we have Joe Milton. Well, guess what? They traded Joe Milton right after that for a 5th round pick. So like, you didn't have anything. Yeah. Maybe you got a 5th rounder instead of a 6th rounder. Not worth losing the 5th round, the first overall pick. So these fans, it's frustrating. You know what? It's the same in fantasy. This is why we make money in this channel all the time. This is why it's my winter job, and now it's my full-time job, is that we can make money off the sheep. And the people that just don't know ball, that are very emotionally invested, it's like, I don't care about drafting Bears players. If it's the right pick, I'm going to make it. I like Roma Dunze this year. It's not because he's in the Bears. I don't give a fuck what team you're on. Like, I really don't care. I just want the best possible player. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. The Chaz, we did 2 hours. Appreciate you, dude. Hopefully, come on going forward on Wednesdays. I know you still have some college to finish up. How many weeks do you have left? How many months do you have left? When are you done?
Pretty much a month. I got 4 to 5 weeks, 4.5 weeks until I'm done. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to say that, but pretty much early March is when early May is when I'll be graduating, and then I'll be out there in the real world. That's what everyone calls it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, man. Depends. You're a pretty smart guy. So I want to ask you this: you're going to come on for some NFL draft stuff. You got to watch a little bit of film. I know you got a lot of studying to do, but I know you're going to do that anyway for Dynasty. So
yeah, I actually would not mind coming on for the draft stuff, being able to see your guys's takes, and then also be able to see if what I'm seeing is the same as what you guys are seeing. So I'll definitely let me know when those streams are, and I'll definitely hop on.
Love it, man. Appreciate you, Chaz. Chaz is the man. Thank you to everyone in the chats. If you're interested in supporting the channel, joining the community, more importantly, professionalfanatics.com. Link in the description. A lot of good stuff in there, guys. So get in there now. Like I said, it's cheaper now than it will be later in the off season, and you'll actually save money by doing it now, because if you're waiting, that's fine. I get it, but it'll go up, and it's a good investment because you're going to make money. You're going to dominate fantasy, and the group of guys is just elite. We appreciate everybody. Thank you, Hetzer. Thank you, Mouth. Downtown Sports Boys. Link in the description for that show. Thank you, Jonathan, Jay, all the peeps in here. Chaz, I hope you have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. Tomorrow night, guys, a late show tomorrow, probably 11:30 p.m. Central. Be kind of a shit show with me and Ray. And then Friday's to be determined. Again, just check the Discord. I'll send you guys the details of what times I'll be going on each day. Typical times. It might change. This weekend's a little unique for me, but you'll be seeing my my handsome face, my well manicured face. I got a haircut. Look at me, dude. I'm looking. Oh, my hair is kind of thin, but
the birthday boy got the birthday haircut.
Yeah, I've been trying to get one for a couple weeks. Had some issues with my barber canceling on me. That son of a bitch. But yeah. I'm trying to find the ending clip. Okay, so get in the Discord and check out the times that the shows will be going on, or subscribe to the channel if you have not. You'll get the notification. Put the bells on. Chaz, thank you. Love your life. Stay positive. Respect each other. We out of here. Oh, I'm still on here. My bad. See ya.